And she said, I want to wish you a Merry Christmas. I said, babe, there's no holiday I'd spend without you. And she asked if this was the day that Jesus went to heaven. I said, babe, I think this is the day he was born. Ho, 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 ho. Merry Christmas from AEW Dudes. Ho, 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 ho. Merry Christmas from AEW Dudes.
As always, thank you, Matt Prince, for the very beautiful original music to play us in. Indeed, a very... To all of you Brainiacs.
No, Josh. No, Josh. Today, we can say... Oh, no, we still can't say it. Oh,
Fuckers.
God.
They got us.
They got us.
By the leash.
They got us. Oh.
Got us by the damn leash. Welcome to the Wrestling Brain Year-End Show 2023. I'm Uturusinza, Josh Custodio. And look who's front-facing. Look who's guiding. I guess I was going to make a Rudolph analogy, but I was like, maybe Matt doesn't want to be called red-nosed, sort of an alcoholic thing. But I was saying you guide the way like Rudolph. Also makes you feel like you're my animal and I'm Santa. Maybe just not a good analogy.
Yeah,
but you guide the way.
I guide the way. Makes me wonder, the whole Rudolph story. Listen, you can shrink yourself down and fit down every chimney and deliver Christmas presents to all the children of the world. All of them. Count them. Every single kid. But you don't have a light. You can't figure out a light.
Yeah, he's hooped. Surely one of the presents is a spotlight. It's something in there. Someone in the world is asking for a big flashlight. A good point. Matt has cracked the code. Good evening, everybody. Instead of a 1 to 7 question this evening, I just want to know how you're doing. How's everyone doing? It's the year-end show. 4th annual, Matt. Wrestling Brain year-end show. Now, the first one predates the existence of the Twitch channel. It's just me and like 8 to 12 extraordinarily kind people choosing to pay and listen to it. Shout out Fruits are Edible, Scoots Brodo. See, this is why you can't start listing these first day heads that you Anfield Road. Come on, but any of you, those day one people, thank you so much. 519 devices do it. So E Prime, one of those. Thank God, subscribing with tier 2, 37-month streak. Unbelievable, wow. My brother.
That's like at least a year.
You're correct. He makes some of the best coffee on earth. Just a great guy. Yeah, let's get a million sound alerts and subs tonight. Let's outdo the shows that have other co-hosts. Let's show them the Matt and Josh chemistry is what the people want. Day one-ish, says E Prime. Just oh my God. Do you have food?
And you shall receive.
Oh my God. Well, Scoots, thank you very much. We're kicking off the year-end show with a wonderful edition of What's Matthew Eating?
Raisin bread.
A very rare occasion of seeing my face while my song is playing.
Yeah, we get you. How does that feel?
I'm looking at my own face and I'm going,
Apple Jacks.
Is that my face?
You do really have to get used to it.
Is that the face of the person who is whispering
beef bourguignon,
all the foods in the world as far as I'm concerned?
Winter salad.
I think that
pizza.
We can get just every sound alert out of the way right now. Dump them on top of you eating. Everybody. What's Matthew eating? That's one T.
Carrots.
What? Oh, carrots.
Carrot cake.
Matt, tonight we're going through 25 best and worst categories of the year. We are getting to 191 results worth of hot takes curated by yours truly in the survey. We are showing you parts of the Twitch wrapped for the channel. We're going to be showing you our growth this year, the emojis you used, all sorts of things.
Delicious apple. Pink lady.
So much on the show tonight. And then later,
applesauce.
Giving out the award for the best Canadian wrestler of the year.
What's
But first, I would say a non-holiday rendition, because the holiday version, of course, was yesterday, if you missed it. It was momentous. It was the first ever spin on the ever-popular What's Matthew Eating? Now, I've never been on camera for this,
I'll
so I'm
close
going...
my eyes.
So, yeah, everyone close your eyes.
Cover you.
No one look. No one look. I got some food here. I got a food item.
Thank you, Sludge Williams, complimenting my haircut. Man, when a guy like Thomas tells you you're looking good, my goodness. Okay. The cereal Captain Crunch.
We got our Captain Crunch.
Chat, what do you think? Paysol saying Christmas apple. Shit, that's a good guess. Oh, no, you said not holiday, so maybe not a good guess.
I said not holiday, so otherwise, first guess, of course, would have to be Christmas applesauce.
Okay, what is it, Maddie? Let's get to the awards. Let's get to the answers.
The answer is actually another retcon. It is holiday themed, but not in the conventional sense. It is popcorn from a popcorn maker that my friend Carlo got me for Secret Santa. Thank you very much, Carlo.
Big shout out to Carlo Castillo. I love that guy. RL guessing Apple Jacks, Sludge Williams with rice, pilaf, Scootsburg Christmas applesauce, but a non-holiday version of that. Close guesses, everybody. And again, welcome
So good.
to the Wrestling Brain year-end show. Maddie, do you mind throwing up the beautiful graphics of the slideshow that we'll be going through tonight? Let me warn everybody, some of the hot takes in the hot take category, nasty. And later on, the Zoobs, another special guest, a channel favorite. Wow, that is
a good thing that your husband is never dead.
Yes,
I love this one.
Would have never disowned his father anyway, because he realizes that his father was as good of a wrestler as I was. And not only that, his father, Buddy Wayne, and Nick knows this as well, was the man.
He was the man. He was the man.
Do me a favor, and you know what, Shane? It's because, we played your cards right.
You play your cards right. That's true.
But that's a conversation for another day. So what I'd like to have right now is for you to never get the hell out of my ring.
Never.
Go punch your card, because I think your shift is never about to start at Denny's. Never. Get the hell out of my ring. Right, never.
Never
confused.
get the hell out of my ring.
Right, never. A little confused at the end, but again, when you're speaking off the cuff, such as Christian was in that moment, sometimes you misspeak a little bit. But I think other than that, pretty understandable.
Bound to happen. Maddie, thank you so much for your efforts tonight. Your voice, of course, the nicest one on the channel. Let's face it, you're going to be reading aloud the results tonight. We'll be going through the 191 results survey. We'll be taking the top 3 most popular answers. And I must say, before we get into the specific awards, this year for most categories had more varied answers for each award than ever by far. It was the trend of the survey this year, is that there was way more variety in answers, and that includes Wrestler of the Year. That includes, Tag Team of the Year. Every tag team on Earth was up for Tag Team of the Year, apparently, and I think that this says different things about different companies when we talk about it during the awards. What kicks us off this evening, Matt?
Well, to start, we're actually going to go with Tag Team Match of the Year. Speaking of tag teams.
Okay.
Interesting place to start. Sort of like this is a very pro tag team channel, a pro tag team chat. We're obviously going through a bit of a lull with AEW in their tag division. But what do you think the people said? Well, I'll tell you.
I know, yeah.
Yeah,
I knew when I put this together last
you put
week.
this
I actually
together.
have no idea now. But I also don't know. It is true. I couldn't tell you.
So we have number 1, FTR versus Bullet Club Gold, 2 out of 3 falls. Number 2, the Usos versus Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. That must have been like an indie promotion. And number 3, the Astronauts versus Strong BJ. I think the third one was made up. What do you think, Josh?
Yeah, this was a category with a very dominant first answer, which was the number 1 first place there, the FTR versus Bullet Club Gold, 2 out of 3 falls. On Collision, no less. It's not often a best match category gets taken away by a television match. Strong BJ, of course, the team of Daisuke Sekimoto and Yuji Okabayashi in Big Japan. That's the Wrestling Brain Discord influence. Watch Big Japan, folks. Big Japan kicks ass. Okabayashi robbed. What did I say on this one, Matty?
Josh was saying that the FTR Bullet Club, that the chat was right. Josh is saying the chat was right. FTR versus Bullet Club Gold, best 2 out of 3 falls. Why do you think this was the best?
This match was the promise of Collision. I talk very often on Wednesdays about the promise of Dynamite and what I view that to be. Actually, funny enough, a lot of that is tag team wrestling or a hot opener or whatever the things we associate with cornerstones of Dynamite. I remember being distinctly in my mind saying, oh, I'm going to be a Collision guy. This is what I'm talking about. And now Collision is still quite good, but it is not what I don't want to have the whole relitigate the CM Punk discussion constantly. But in my opinion, that was the best run the show had. I liked it quite a bit this last week, but in this time period, I thought it was one of my favorite wrestling TV shows ever. So very, very standout tag match for me.
Well said. Well said. Collision used to be better. I think we can all admit it, regardless of your feelings on.
That's exactly right. Maddie, I've told our special guest to come on in for this next category. Maybe you could pull it up on screen, don't show the answer, and then bring them in if you don't mind.
Okay. Did you see the smoke come out of my left ear?
Years. You can take your time. You can. We have time. I'm just saying, hit the next slide. We can talk about it.
We got the commentator of the year coming up next with a very, very special guest coming on up.
Very special guest here. Jump into the chat here for a moment. Scoots Brodo saying, strong BJ, be sure what you show on here. They'll ban you from Twitch. We did it, says Anderson64. Always good to agree. I love when the Brainiacs and I are on the same page. Colliders have been struggling, says 519 Tobias. Yeah, the C1 has helped getting Brody King and Eddie on there, but largely I agree. E Prime, the C1 will save both shows. Brother, it's over in 2 weeks. We're doomed. Oh, boy. Oh, my heavens. This is what the people deserve.
What's up, baby? What's up, baby?
The champion. Is he on screen, Matty?
In 3, 2, 1. Yes, he is.
Nice.
Let's bring him on. My favorite independent wrestler, currently the NEW heavyweight champion, earlier this year also the ASW world heavyweight champion. He is the only Wrestling Brain sponsored athlete. I gave my ribs to protect him. No one better. Member of the Wiseman, Mr. Ferguson in the house.
Thank you
to
for giving up
join
your ribs.
And I should say WBCW wrestler. The chance exploding with WBCW. Also WBC
dub,
where he is also a former deathmatch world champion. So
yeah, baby.
Unbelievable. Ferg, first of all, thank you so much for joining us. You look unbelievably good. The hat and sunglasses. If you're not following Fergie Wrestler on Twitter, your promos on there have just been that site is dying, and you are just one of the best parts on it now. Decidedly, you have
life jacket.
Yeah, you were the life jacket, bringing us all right on back up.
I don't look stoned, do I?
Not at all, man. Never.
Okay, good.
You don't do that, I don't think.
No, never.
Not in a very long. Maybe when you were a youth, you know.
When I was like 8 or 7, yeah, of course I fucking blazed, but not now.
As we all did.
As we all blazed.
The appropriate time to get into it. The people are thrilled to see you, Ferg, as am I always. We brought you on. Oh, sorry, Jeff, something to say?
No, I got nothing.
We brought you on for commentator of the year. I said, who's the best talker I can think of to commentate on the commentators?
Oh, man.
And you and I, Ferg, we have something very in common. Something that I think it says something a lot about us. It bonds us. We are diehard fans of Don West. And
yeah.
Frankly, for this channel's purposes, this could be the Don West Memorial Award. But
yeah.
Don, who else are some of your commentators of your favorites of all time?
You know, I kind of like them all. I like Bobby the Brain Heenan was cool with Gorilla, fucking Ventura.
Okay, Ventura
Shivani.
maybe the best voice on the mic for it.
Yeah, Ventura, Shivani, You know, I got love for Taz now, current day. I like JR and Lawler. I thought they were fun too.
Of course.
People kind of poo-poo on them now, but I like them. But JR back in the day when he was like really angry at Triple H, that shit was awesome.
When I was growing up, JR and Lawler was the gold standard. I don't know how
The GOAT.
long that continued in my life, but that was definitely true for a point in time.
It feels like they've taken a hit now that they're not considered the GOATs.
Yeah, Jerry Lawler feels like kind of like a soundboard guy. Like whenever I listen to him, he feels like what his critics say he is. It's a lot of the squeal or the just like the things you associate with him. And I don't mind that out of JR when he's just sort of playing the hits. Well, Jerry Lawler, I don't know, it just seems more annoying. I don't know how to get around it.
Yeah, it's like dollar store jokes a lot of the time.
Yeah, 100%. The worst street jokes you've ever heard. Do you remember who you voted for in this category for 2023, Ferg?
Excalibur.
Now, talk a little bit about Excalibur. Whoever you put for this category, I'm saying this to the voters, I think it's safe to say Excalibur's the most versatile commentator,
Yeah.
the most well-rounded. What is it you like so much about the man named after a sword?
He covers his bases well. Like, for instance, even on the CC this week on Dynamite yesterday, you know, he was the only one that was actually breaking down the numbers like New Japan does and be like, this dude actually needs to, like, what was it? Jay White wanted someone to win, or I can't remember.
Exactly.
But,
He
like,
walked
he actually broke
through
it down.
sort of like in a soccer tournament way.
Instead
This
of like,
is exactly how it need to play out.
yeah, instead of Taz just being like which you should, you know, ideally, obviously you want to win every match, but Taz clearly didn't break down every bracket like a G1. He was just like, oh, you know, Mark Briscoe needs to win for Pride, but this guy was like, well, if he loses this, actually, Jay White has a chance to tie for first still. So attention
Love
to
you,
detail.
boys.
He knows
Catch
his
y'all
history
on the
very
VOD.
well, but he also still knows all the current days guys really well. So yeah, I'd say he's my favorite.
And he's such a commentator that suits his Fed. Who else could have done the sort of indie? AW feels in some ways more big time, or at least more established now. But a lot of that was on Excalibur's back to sort of, everybody says, oh, bring it out of Reseda and into the stadiums, which is a little, you know, trite. But that is largely what he had to do in a lot of his commentary positions.
Definitely.
What did the voters say, Maddie? What were the top 3 answers? And thank you, good friend Jake, for the sub, saying, love you, boys. Catch on the VOD. We love you, too.
Well, the people, the Brainiacs themselves agreed that number 1 was Excalibur, but number 2 was Ian Riccoboni, which I haven't
That's
heard.
my number 2.
That's a good one. That's a good number 2. Always excited to hear Ian Riccoboni. I think everybody wants to hear more of him. And then you
That's
got
some
number
good
3.
vanilla ice cream.
It's just
That's actually really well put.
Yeah. You got I'm thinking Breyer's French vanilla with the little speckles, you know.
Yeah, that's like, you know, you go right into doggy style. We're not trying to fancy it up tonight. I got a full stomach. I had too much steak for dinner.
Yeah.
Give me the go home cue in the headset.
Yeah. And we're
then you
still
go to-
talking about ice cream, right?
No, now we're talking about getting laid, cracking a ginger ale, and laying in bed and going to bed smoking a doobie, listening to some SNES music. That's kind of what he is.
That's how you become world champion, folks.
Whew. Yeah.
Who's
been
third?
there.
Sorry.
Excalibur with Boney and Taz in the 3rd spot. Is that what I see, Maddie? I know
Taz-
our faces sort of cover up the results. I just want to make sure to read them through for people.
Taz is in the 3rd spot. Yes. Here,
That's good.
Let me move some stuff around here real quick.
Taz could kind of just win any year for me personally. He's maybe the guy I notice most on commentary. I'm not somebody who especially notices commentary all that much. I actually think that's why I like Don West too. Just these moments of explosion that I can actually call attention to and remember. But who did I say for this one, Maddie?
Josh actually went with a number 2 pick from the audience with Ian Riccoboni. Ian Riccoboni, number 1. So, Josh, explain yourself. Why Ian Riccoboni?
This sounds so mean, but as I see that pop up, it really just is a vote against Kevin Kelly. Collision was so much worse without Ian Riccoboni. He's I didn't know how good I had it. You can either watch The Wizard of Oz and take all that. No place like home. It was in front of me the whole damn time. The courage, the heart, the brains, you had it in you the whole time. Tap your heels. I never did that for Ian Riccoboni. And then once he went, I was like, wow, distance making my heart grow fonder, fonder, fonder. And I just wanted to give him his flowers because I feel like this is a guy, when Ferg says good vanilla ice cream, that's actually exactly right. And I think that's maybe why I haven't given him his due daps in years prior. And it took somebody not as capable doing what I've gotten used to on a show I really like to miss or to rather spotlight how great Ian really is.
Now, Josh, actually, both of the fellas here, what do we think about this in the chat? The Anderson 64, Nigel McGuinness erasure. Do you think he did enough? Is it a question of not enough time, or is he just not up there with you guys?
I think he's really up and down. Sometimes he's saying very cringy stuff, and for me, Maddie knows this about me. I'm one of those dorks when they talk about North Americans just think broadcasts are smarter if there's an English accent on it. I'm that dork. In MMA, I love Dan Hardy and John Gooden, the UK call team. I am that guy, so I should be very in the bag for Nigel McGuinness, but there are times that I'm just sort of like, what's he talking about? But there are moments where he's awesome too. Where are you on that one, Ferg?
Same. I don't mind him. Sometimes he hits pretty good, but other times I feel like telling him, like, yo, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
He's kind of got that Mauro Ranallo for me where it's like you can tell he
Oh.
loves the sound of his own voice a bit too much.
Once
And
we're
I-
off air, Matt can tell you something about Mauro Ranallo that'll blow your mind.
Is it something terrible?
I'm not saying anything.
Well, it's something fucking terrible. Then you're
I'm
not gonna be
not
like,
saying a
no,
word.
I gave a bunch of money to charity. Yeah, so I'm the same way. Like, it's too heel-y sometimes too. I don't like that. Like when it's like getting your shit in, it's like, all right, dude, chill out. Like I
Heel
don't know.
commentator doesn't really feel like an AEW dovetailing, does it? Like it feels like a really WWE thing to be like, oh, the bad guy commentator.
Yeah.
I would agree with that. It's so good when they have like a guest commentator as the heel. It makes so much more sense whenever our Canadian guy Don Callis gets on the horn. It's like
That's a
that
good
makes
shout.
sense. That dynamic makes sense. But yeah, I agree.
You know who's good on commentary and who was incredible in the original Cruiserweight Classic is Bryan Danielson. When
Very good.
Bryan's on commentary, he does that whole character thing, but so much better than Jericho or Dawn, who just sort of take over the whole thing. Bryan is maybe the best commentator ever at calling a guy who he likes in ring, a Blackpool Combat Club member. He's willing them to do better, which is such an interesting way for the comment. Instead of flagrantly cheering for your guy, you're criticizing him when he's doing poorly. It makes the other guy look really spotlighted. I'm a big fan of when they give Bryan the horn. I guess Bryan's just kind of good at everything, I suppose.
Absolutely, I agree.
Nigel needs to shut the F up, says Scoots Brodo, about Danielson's clam digging. Nothing but love for Morrow over here, says C Suppa. Cycle like Sedin saying, Daddy Magic seems to be pretty good at wrestler cameo announcer too. Agree with that. Yeah. Would love to see more Bryan commentary when he's not in ring as much as Brick Mittens. And I'm with you.
Definitely.
RL shouting out Mox is another good wrestler commentator. I don't really remember it, but I easily believe that he is good. Oh, yeah.
Oh,
That was
we
at
were-
Wrestle Dream.
Yeah.
So we were there.
We didn't hear him. That's why.
All three of us were in the building.
Ah.
Very cool.
Mr.
Big
Ferguson,
hit.
thank you so
Big
much
hit in
for
the chat.
joining us tonight on the Wrestling Brain year-end show. Give him a follow at Fergie Wrestler. Buy tickets to it's on January 27th at the Commodore Ballroom.
Yes,
I will
it
be
is.
there. Mr.
Fuck
Ferguson
yeah.
will be defending his title against Bishop.
Yep.
And it's just one more in the win column in the never-ending world title reign of one Mr. Ferguson.
Another W. Okay, boys, have a good show. I'll be watching.
Thanks, dude. We'll talk to you very soon. Always nice to see the scourge of the PNW, the insurance policy, Mr. Ferguson.
Love that guy. Love that
Me
guy and
too.
his insight in nighttime routines.
Oh, yeah. There's a guy who, like me, is obsessed with the Bluetooth headset and SNES soundtracks. Forget about it. Nobody's got the hookup like Mr. Ferguson. If there's ever an album from the 90s that has been redone in a video game soundscape or soundboard, Mr. F sends him over my way and I fall asleep to him that week. It's fantastic.
He's taking MP3 players with music on them. He's shoving them in the game port of Super Nintendo, and they're spitting out songs that you've never heard of before. That's how far ahead he is.
Working forwards and backwards. There he goes. NEW World Champion, Mr. Ferguson. Maddie, let's get to the next category here, if we can.
Up next, we have the Breakthrough Wrestler of the Year.
Oh,
with a nice.
I love this category, Matt.
Yeah, tell me more about the category here, the Breakthrough Wrestler of the Year. What are the parameters that we're working with here?
So this is what I love. There are none. And when people ask me to clarify, I never do, because I
love
think
that.
the way that people infer breakthrough makes it a very interesting category in where it tells you where somebody is in their career to different people, what breakthrough means. One of my favorite categories every single year. And I will say, very popular 4 or 5 answers. from the survey here. So maybe not as wide a spread as some others. A very clear narrative of who broke through this year, which is awesome.
Well, let's see what they say. The people are saying number 1, Swerve Strickland, which is a great shout. Absolutely perfect shout, in my opinion. Number 2, we have Tiffany Stratton. And number 3, we have Julia Hart, who almost could be in a category of her own with a breakthrough 6 months.
Sure.
Really.
Yeah.
Just absolute, speaking of Wrestle Dream, one of the highlights in a stacked card. Says a lot about it. These are some good picks, Josh. What do you think?
Yeah, first of all, big congrats to Swerve Strickland, who is by any metric, he's probably the AEW success story of the year. In a year of lots of tumult, Swerve Strickland has been an absolute spotlight or highlight, high point, however you want to put it. Very big congratulations. And some say more important than any of his work in AEW this year, he won the Wrestling Brain Breakthrough Wrestler of the Year award from the Brainiacs. What did I say on this one, Maddie?
You had a pick that I think will go down well in the chat with the Astronauts. Interesting choice, picking a breakthrough wrestler from a federation that's just breaking through itself. Tell us about why the Astronauts were the cream of the crop rising to the top.
Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised when Fuminori Abe and Nomura had their singles match. It was at an anniversary show. Maybe Sledge Williams remembers. I'm going to say six weeks ago, something like that, maybe 2 months. And it was one of these. I'm one of these guys, Maddie. I can't grow up, and the way I ingest things, I'm so reminded of downloading one match off LimeWire or seeking out whatever the viral match of the moment was. Now, that doesn't exist as much now, but there's still, I feel like within a year, 4, 5, 6 matches that do manage to pick up some virality. And I was so happy that one of the finest tag teams on planet Earth right now, their singles match managed to have this breakthrough and be talked about so much. I hope that it drove some people to bjwcore.com and they watched some of their tag work together, because these guys they're Japanese FTR if both members of FTR were Shibata. And it's outstanding. And they're dynamic with the much bigger Big Japan and often treading into the hardcore. They're just tremendously interesting. They're phenomenal wrestlers. I see that they're getting, was it GCW? I believe they're getting some independent dates this year in America. And I suspect, I would be surprised if they're not signed to an American Fed in the next 18 months. Or that is to say that it's not as often that wrestlers will jump a Fed in Japan, but if they wanted to, that would also count, signing with New Japan or All Japan or something. But they work those Feds as freelancers very often. RL letting me know they're going to GCW in February. Thank you to my brother RL.
New, All, and Big. My 3 favorite Japans.
They were, yeah. The big 3. New, All, and Big.
The big 3. Okay, well, the next
Flips, redeem and take a hit with some brain bucks. Now, keep in mind, you are earning brain bucks that you can use to gamble on matches on WBCW Meltdown. We return January 1st with World's Beginning. But I will remind you, if you stick around for when we raid somebody at the end of episodes, you earn a big chunk of brain bucks as well. So this is a great way to earn brain bucks. Stay tuned. Thank you, Marlon Phillips. Maddie, pull up what they said for worst booking of the year. Read those 3 out loud, and I will disappear for un momento.
Worst booking of the year. This must have been a tough one to narrow down for the Brainiacs. There's been some stinkage out there in the world. But number 1, you said, was MJF versus Jay White. The rest, I don't even need to go through. That's obviously the worst. Just kidding. Number 2, MJF and Cole as tag champions. Just the concept of them as tag champions has been pretty annoying as well. Number 3 is a really good one. Roman Reigns beating Sami Zayn. A moment in time that even the Brainiacs and even Wrestling Brain were thinking of WWE. And
I tuned into Elimination Chamber. I know Zoobs did too.
Insane how much they fumbled this. Can't believe it. Well, I can believe it. They're idiots. But that's a solid top 3 from the Brainiacs.
Congratulations, MJF and Jay White, for winning worst booking of the year from the Brainiacs. Maddie, what did I say on this one? I think I know.
Josh hates the devil so much, even though it's recent. every single Devils appearance is the worst booking of the year. How did that edge out some of the other stuff that I'm sure you hated?
Yeah, and this is a good answer by me, because we're talking about the booking. The booking of the Devil doesn't make any sense. His linearity, and no matter what angle you want to take with it, who he attacks, he's just chaotic evil now. The least interesting addition imaginable. He is not booked to be of interest. He does not protect MJF. He does not protect any one person in particular. He's just scorned and all over the place. I hate him.
Now, tell you what, Josh, I'll get a scenario for you. Somehow, the promo that happened last night of the Golden Jets actually happens 2 weeks ago, and it's eligible to be voted upon. Devil's appearances or Golden Jets promo from last night, which is worse?
Devil appearances, because the world title's involved. At least it's just they're hoo-hawing around with the tag belts, which aren't important anymore anyway. So that's four singles guys wrestling for the tag belts.
Now,
have fun down there, fellas.
Marlon brings up a good point. It sounds like the Devil is working as a heel if Josh hates it. Great point.
Logic chokehold. He's got me. Yeah. I gotta. How do we turn the stream off?
I don't know.
Sammy deserved it so much better, says 519 Tobias. Yeah. I would have been more interested in New York had Sami Zayn pinned Big Dog Roman.
Because, like, even if it did happen, Roman would have just won it right back. Whatever. But just, they want him to be the greatest champion ever. And in order to do that, they're just having him have it for a long time.
Yeah. That's what greatness is.
That's what greatness is.
Existing.
Anywho, speaking of existing, the next category that exists is spot of the year. Josh, I'm loving the art. I'm loving the art that accompanies this.
Thanks. Yeah, they're chosen. I don't know if people noticed, but they have something to do with the category and Christmas, which you can't say.
Let's just say, according to the top right corner, these are spots that did make a difference.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
And
very nice.
Really tough to differentiate the top three here, but we'll go anyway. Number 1, Brody King Gonzo Bomb on Dralistico. Number 2, Kenny Omega exposed turnbuckle DDT on Will Ospreay. And number 3, Swerve Hangin' Hangman. Interestingly enough, not my favorite hanging spot I've ever seen.
What does that go to?
That goes to Brody King versus Darby Allin.
In a coffin match.
Yeah,
that is incredibly sick.
It was so sick. Just one of the smoothest things I've ever seen. But that's from a year or two ago. Brody King Gonzo Bomb on Dralistico. I know what this is, but Josh, could you describe it to the people, just in case there's anyone in the chat that doesn't know what a Gonzo Bomb on Dralistico is?
Absolutely. Zoobs is first of all correct. I said it wrong. It's a coughing match. That's my bad. That's an AEW original. And yes, so the Gonzo Bomb is Brody King's jumping sit-out pile driver. He's 350 north, and he did it to Dralistico, a luchador, on a ladder. Squanched him. I love all three of these spots. That Omega exposed turnbuckle DDT is something of an all-time one. I do think that will be remembered in the New Japan annuals and highlights for years to come. And of course, the Gonzo Bomb, fresh in my mind. I thought the drinking blood or hanging from this match for Hangman Swerve could have won, but mine was clear. I admit maybe a little biased from being in the building on this one. Maddie, show him what I said.
The Bryan Danielson Dragon Screw on Zack Sabre Jr. A dangerous looking maneuver that did not look like it felt very good if you were Zack Sabre Jr. But it was very effective. He did win.
You know how I complain when matches look cooperative sometimes, Maddie?
I do quite well.
This Dragon Screw looked the opposite of cooperative. This looked like they should have retired the Dragon Screw. They should have said, we're done here. Marlon saying, I thought you were going to say kicking out at one of the One-Winged Angel. I almost did. Another one I was in the building for. But ultimately, I probably prefer the one kick out from the BTE trigger from Kenny. Whereas I've never seen a Dragon Screw I like more. And I'm one of the biggest Hiroshi Tanahashi fans to ever live. I loved this Dragon Screw. It looked like he ripped his leg off. Shout out Brian Danielson and Brody King. You have one from the Brainiacs and myself, the Wrestling Brain Spot of the Year. And stay tuned, everybody. We got the Zoobs coming up. Going through the best Canadian wrestler of the year, and we're getting through your hot takes. Going through the Twitch end of year. And I will say, before we get to promo of the year, if you want to join my Discord, where we fielded these questions early access, we're 24/7 about wrestling, tons of bonus content. That's at patreon.com/J0SHC. $5 a month gets you into the Discord, gets you all that content aforementioned, including something coming out on Christmas Day, Matt. Can you believe that?
I cannot stop the presses.
Put
Oh,
that
I
in the
thought
news.
they were stopped. I thought the
Call
presses were
CNN.
stopped.
Call MSNBC. Call Fox.
Get into the Situation Room with Wolf Blitzer.
Call Newsmax.
Call.
Maybe not them,
Yeah.
but call the rest of them.
Prank call Newsmax. Oh, wait. There's a channel that does that.
That was a pretty good promo from me, but Maddie, can we see the answers, the top 3 for the people promo of the year?
Coming up right underneath the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer Blu-ray on Amazon. Number 1.
Pretty good deal. Oh, it's on sale.
It's on sale.
Promotion.
The John. Oh, nice. Nice. Very good. John Moxley, you are not the same animal as me. John Moxley appearing at number 1 on a year that perhaps has not been his best. Number 2, Christian Cage, go fuck yourself. That was a big moment. And number 3,
being memorable is worth so much. I think people just remembered that one a lot.
Number 3 almost shouldn't count if you have a promo as bad as his when he first arrived on the scene in a different promotion. But CM Punk, I'm the genuine article, and they are
of counterfeit
in a
bucks.
world of counterfeit bucks. So that's good to know that he said that. It's also good to know that he doesn't appear to feel the need to follow up on that.
I did go back and rewatch all 3 of these promos,
Yeah.
and I really think the Mox promo is excellent and worthy of winning here. Thought it was really fantastic. However, it was not mine. Mine didn't actually appear. I was surprised. My guy was very under-nominated for what I thought. He had a banner year in this realm. He's the man who makes me feel. He's the man who keeps it real. Congratulations to the Mad King for winning my promo of the year.
After 21 years of fighting, you think you're not going to get it.
This is his promo after he wins the New Japan Strong title. If Zoob's in the chat, I know he also holds a penchant for this one as well. And it is a guy who is either an Oscar-level actor or actually realizing his dreams in real time. And he went from couldn't sign anywhere, NXT didn't want him, grinding out a life on the indies, to getting to meet Kawada on a trip where he won a New Japan title. And he just lets it all out. And how he's not the old him anymore. And he's not going backwards. I still find it moving. It's a great promo. Eddie Kingston. Almost all of them could be in this realm. My promo of the year.
Go off, Kingston. Yeah, I mean, we've talked about this before on the channel, but this was also likely only heard if you follow AEW on social media, or perhaps Eddie Kingston on social media. Maybe he retweeted it, but it's a absolute crime that that more people haven't seen Eddie Kingston talk, because he's just so wonderful at it.
He's so wonderful at it. I agree. RL saying he doesn't need to follow up on the counterfeit Bucks promo because he's honest.
He meant
Some truth in
home,
that.
because he's home.
Oh. Okay, great. Eddie over everything because the dude. Colin Phillips says Eddie Goat. Matty Mac, the Juice Robinson Who promo was his pick. Yeah, that's another one where I think with more exposure. I saw some who I assume were Discord picks in there. Probably got 5 to 10 votes. For those of you who haven't seen it, Juice Robinson is doing a promo on Fred Rosser, which is genuinely fantastic. He's saying, Fred Rosser keeps coming at me, and he's coming at me and my wife. You know, I walked in the door. I said, you know Fred Rosser? She said, who? I said, the Primetime Players. She said, who? I said, millions of dollars, millions of dollars. She said, who? I said, oh. She said, oh. And I said, the other guy. He goes
That's
on
really
from
good.
there. It's an awesome promo. Juice is electric. And I think that's another one in the New Japan scene. So maybe a little bit underseen, but a great promo.
Up next, we have pay-per-view event of the year with a little Yukon Cornelius in the top.
He's a
right
pimp,
corner.
right? Yukon Cornelius.
He's so cool. He's the best.
His vibes are fantastic.
I love-
yeah.
I love when he he to test. I think he like licks his pickaxe to see where the abominable snowman is. Just good stuff.
That's like right out of Shadow of the Colossus. Great stuff. Yukon Cornelius, cool guy. He must have played that game. Psycho Like Sadine's pointing out recency bias is tough with promos. Yeah, agree.
Yep. It's very tough.
Pay-per-view event of the year. I was at 2 this year, but I'm curious to see where people aligned. Maddie, would have you gone Wrestle Dream just for your attendance at that one?
Yes, I went to Wrestle Dream, and if you count, went to Wrestle Dream, and I also went to Forbidden Door.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, you were at the exact same 2 big ones I was at. Which of the 2 did you prefer your time at?
I would say Forbidden Door. Forbidden Door edges it out. It just felt bigger. It felt, I think bigger is the best way I could describe it. It just felt like a once-in-a-lifetime thing, which recency bias can go both ways. Recency bias means that the second one I went to that was similar to the first one that maybe didn't reach the same heights was a little bit exposed.
Totally
even
true.
though it was great. But what did the people say? I'll tell you. I'll tell you what the people said.
Please do.
They said Forbidden Door was number 1. A bunch of smart people. Notice how Wrestle Dream is nowhere near. We got number 2, All In. You know who else would agree with that? The people, because it's the best-selling pay-per-view of all time. And number 3, WrestleMania.
WrestleMania. Now, Matt, you were one of the WrestleMania voters, weren't you?
Yeah, that was me. But also, I have to say that I'm waiting on a pair of glasses to be delivered. I thought this was the worst pay-per-view event of the year.
Oh, shoot. I liked all 2 days of it myself, but surprised to see it. Forbidden Door 1, All In. This just looks like a list probably of the 3 most memorable pay-per-views of this year in a name value, I suppose, if you're a AEW fan and casual, see the big 3 maybe. New York viewer. What did I say on this one, Maddie? I think I agreed with you.
Scoots, I don't mean to hurt your feelings. I loved seeing my pal Scoots. We're talking. This is. I'm not speaking as a friend. I'm speaking as a professional broadcaster, producer,
Critic.
that sort of thing. I'm trying to
Different.
put. Speaking of waiting on glasses, I already have some glasses, and they're a little critical, if you know what I'm saying. But you said Forbidden Door, which is, I think, the right choice. It was absolutely
Unanimous.
wonderful. Unanimous.
Yeah, what a show. All-timer. I loved my rewatch of it when I watched the broadcast. I thought it was really fantastic. Great stuff. Congratulations, Forbidden Door. Yukon Cornelius. Pay-per-view event of the year.
Matt had Wrestle Dream lower because he had to sit beside me. Marlon, I missed you when you moved to the other side. It was
Kind
very
of.
sad.
You did say that, though, back in the hotel room. You did say, Marlon. What a little mosquito that guy is. I remember you said, or maybe you said that to me in confidence. I shouldn't have said it on air.
Marlon and I were about to share a precious moment outside, but then I can't remember who it was, but somebody had to say goodbye, and they sort of came and gave me a hug. But Marlon, I'm grateful for you, and I understand what you were saying. I hear you.
Get to the next slide.
Up next, we have the worst feud of the year. Not to be confused with the booking. This involves 2 separate sides. The people in here said number 1, MJF versus Bullet Club Gold. Sort of a carryover from MJF beating Jay White and making him look like a fool. He is now floundering. Maybe he's lost his edge, something like that. Number 2, Adam Cole versus Chris Jericho.
I totally forgot about that
I
feud.
did not
It did
remember that.
suck.
I did not remember that. Chris Jericho.
Good job on the people there.
Chris Jericho go home. Number 3, Outcasts versus AEW Originals.
That could have been first.
Yeah, I think I remember that. That was when they had the Outcasts, but who are the AEW Originals? Britt Baker.
Well, it was never all that defined. Yeah, Sheeta, Baker, and one other person. I can't even remember. Lots of shit, as Sludge Williams points out. Correct. And what did I say on this one?
More stinkers this year than previous. But you said the Callis family versus Kenny Omega. This is an interesting pick because I know that Kenny has been involved, I guess, too recently in some stinkers. But why do you think? Well, actually, can I guess the main reason?
Sure.
The main reason Josh doesn't like Callis family versus Kenny Omega is because the Callis family is still going on about this. But, Josh, they won. They beat him fair and square, clean, center of the ring. Why are we still dwelling on this? Is that on the right track, Josh?
I wish that was it. Yes, that's one part of why this feud makes no sense. The blow off to this feud, one half of it happened in DDT. Jericho beat Takeshita there. It admittedly a good match. And then the other half was that tie-in with the not Street Fighter, Yakuza game. Ibushi on a bike, this big cluster mess match. Powerhouse Hobbs debuts. He squashes Jericho, but now we get lots of Jericho and no Hobbs. Takeshita beat Kenny, but we get Kenny and very little Takeshita. The whole thing is backwards. It's say what you want about the MJF feud. It sucks, but everyone's trying, and I can tell you what's going on. It's just taking forever and drawn out, and I don't like what it's doing. The Callis family, if you had to map it out, you'd be like, what is going on here? It's like somebody is taking the segments and juggling them and then just doing them in a wild order. Not a fan. Not a fan at all.
Great interaction in the chat here. Cycle like the Sedines saying, at least it means we're seeing tons of Hobbs and Takeshita. Now, it could have been sarcastic, but if it wasn't, the Maddie Mac saying, where are you seeing that?
Yeah, curious to see.
Where are we seeing that?
Yeah.
Oh, it was sarcasm. Cycle like the Scenes. Well done. Maddie Mac, shame.
Stuff on the internet. Hey, I'm staying at Maddie Mac's house next week. You can't go.
Wow, lucky you.
You can't go taking somebody else's side in an argument. What if he poisons my food?
He would never. That man's a gem. Even if he wanted, even if he wanted to, he would poison the food the night before. But his instincts would kick in, and in his sleep, he would wake up, sleepwalk, and remove all the poison from said food.
That's very nice of him.
That's what would happen.
I'm going to try and steal some of his clothes while I'm in his house.
Great read on the convo, Maddie. Which Maddie? Who knows? And Maddie
next slide.
Going to eat his own turds. Okay. Tag team of the year. There's been some great tag teams. There's been the big dick. I think that's what the team's called now. You got Big Billy Starks. That's another tag team we got there.
Yeah, genuinely. I let you riff for. I just realized we've been in a Matt riff for like 2 minutes here. I gotta seize this. What's going on? I'm back. The tag team of the year. Yeah, incredible spread this year for tag team of the year, and I understand why. With the disillusion of AEW's focus on it completely gone, this Collision exclusivity for, like Maddie said, Big Bill, the absolute assholes, whatever you want to call them, Bill and Ricky, and now there's this entire dearth where it makes people think, oh, okay, I guess it could be these guys, or I guess it could be these guys, or one moment makes it these guys. And so an incredible variety here. Zoom saying guns up. Lots of votes for them. Let's see what the top 3 answers were here.
Number 1, we have the mainstay FTR. Number 2, not sure how this got in there, but number 2, Better Than You, Bay. Again, not sure how that got there. And number 3, the Guns. Guns up for the Guns. Many men.
Do you think
Many
does the FTR vote feel like, because then you can pull up mine too. I put them here as well. Because when I look at the matches, FTR did still have some corkers this year, more than I actually gave them credit for. But man, we got to do something about the tag team wrestling. It does feel incredibly weak compared to last year's. You had FTR Reclaimed and Swerve in Our Glory in last year's, all trading first place votes. Very close vote, and we just feel miles away from that now.
It's almost like in boxing, specifically boxing, no other fighting. If you have a champ in their hometown and you're up against them, and you take them the distance, and you maybe land a couple more punches, you might have won the fight. You're not going to win. You're not going to actually win. The scorecards are not going to show that you won because you didn't knock them out. And I think that's what FTR being the number one tag team here means. Not necessarily that they had their best year, but there's just not a lot of people that have stepped up and said, no, we are the best.
That's very true. The Guns feel the closest to that, to like having announced themselves as, okay, we could fill this spot, your top heel tag team on the show. But even then, just being in BCG makes it so that they're usually in a trio with Juice or a four-man or appearances.
Mm-hmm.
The tag division just doesn't feel all that lively.
Felt like Aussie Open had a decent year, but they had some booking issues, and of course, the injury.
We were live for his injury.
That may or may not have ruined their chances of winning a title. Who knows? Who's to say? We'll never know. But yeah, not the best year. Bit of a stinky year for tag teams. But let's get a little bit positive here with the.
I could have just gone with the
year.
astronauts and been cute with it.
Why not? It's your
Maybe
show.
Maybe I should have. Got cute with it.
I won't stop you. I won't.
Big
stop
Japan Core. Just go leave this channel, hang up on the show, stop watching right now, and just go to Google Images and look at Yuji Okabayashi. Just look at him. You're gonna be watching that while he's retired now.
Stay, please. Please
okay.
stay.
Right, I take it back.
The people were saying, RE, the feud of the year, that number one was Swerve Hangman, just getting in under the wire. Number two, we have Eddie Kingston versus Claudio Castagnoli, which, in all fairness, wasn't just this year. And number three, we have the Bloodline Civil War. Which one? Who knows?
Yeah, I think Jim and Jey Uso, they were having some problems, and one of them, he just tricked the other, I guess.
I'm just unwilling.
Cody's there.
I'll always be very forgiving of the Brainiacs, but there's a lot of Fed representation on these lists that could be a joke, but might not be, and it makes me wonder.
No, I think we just, 191 people is slightly outside the scope of the normal online Brainiac, and so there's just Kate from Fightful retweets it, and there's an injection of that listenership. And, I ask people to text this to their friends and whatnot. So it's just hitting a casual circle to some degree, I think.
Gotcha. Understandable. Then it's okay. Sorry,
there are lots of people who think that's like an all-time storyline.
Well, did you see how, his face was like,
yeah. Tormented. He was
what
tormented.
am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? That's what he was saying.
Here we go.
Jimmy!
What did I say?
Jay!
Oh no, Solo's gonna hit him with the thumb. Look out.
Oh!
The thumb.
Can you imagine how much your thumb would hurt if you jammed it into anyone?
Kill. Yeah, it's true.
Oh.
True. Just not a smart way to hit them.
Just an absolute wonderful feud that you agreed with the Brainiacs on. Swerve Strickland versus Hangman Page culminated, and you want every feud that you love to end the way this ended.
Yeah.
And Josh, tell me about how important the ending of this feud was.
Yeah, just a boldness of booking that I'm happy to see. I was nervous they were going to give Hangman his win back, and instead, like you say, the ending of this feud was just more effectual, a greater beating at the hands of Swerve Strickland that also did serve as a reminder that Hangman Page is a wonderful hardcore wrestler. It's maybe the bloodiest match we've ever seen in AEW. Cody and Dustin have a swing at that ball as well. However, their promo segments, at least one of them, was absolutely fantastic as well. You're looking a little soft, Hangman, talking about all this time off, bringing some of that real world feeling into it. It doesn't take much to make a great feud. There was a canceled guy in OXT who I won't use anymore, but sometimes there's great feuds out of 2 or 3 good segments. Punk Eddie Kingston for there's just no one in AEW that has good short feuds. But Swerve and Hangman proved that you don't need a ton of segments, just 2 great matches and a couple face-to-faces, and you can have yourself the feud of the year.
Cycles like the Sedines, some humility in the chat, which I love to see. They wanted Swerve and Hanger to end sooner, and as usual, they were proven wrong. Again, love to see just like understanding that there's a difference between what we think we want and what we actually get.
Yeah, that's well said.
Even us on this channel, if we ever fantasy book something, it's not necessary that that's going to be the best outcome.
Well, it depends who's doing it.
It depends on who's doing it, but I just mean like the idea that like we have a better idea of what we like. Sometimes it is just like the best parts of wrestling is when you watch something like this. Swerve versus Hangman Page, if you would have told us last year that this would happen, we would have been like, okay, it probably would be a pretty good feud. I think it's the fact that we were taken so off guard on how much it meant to each person, how much it ended up meaning, and how much that translated into this bloody blow-off match. Was I think sometimes it's the surprise of things that really takes it to another
show
level.
me what I want is sometimes a very nice approach.
Yeah, show me. Yeah, don't let
you
me.
just can't be Vince McMahon and think that's the way. We gotta show them what they want.
Yeah, exactly. It's that it's nice to be shown sometimes.
Absolutely.
Than it is to like when you have something that's predictable. But up next,
before we move on, I want to say, that said, people also can't retcon too far. I can see this coming from a mile away, that when Swerve Strickland wins the world title, Keith Lee is going to be brought up as an early feud, and people are going to be like, such good long-term storytelling. Here's Keith Lee. And it's like, you don't get points for happening to fix it in the end or ending up in the right place. So I do feel like that sword swings both ways.
Yeah, that's true. It would fall into their laps if that were the case. We'd all like to see it, but this is a big category. This is almost like a best, not quite a best picture, but it's up there.
I think it's our best picture.
Yeah, because you have like the wrestler of the year. You have other ways of looking at it, but the match of the year is so important because that's why we love wrestling.
It is also this. It's the most researched category for me. I make a top 10 list and then I watch all 10 of those matches not the week before this, but the week before I make the slideshow. So in the last 3 weeks, I've watched all 10 of mine. Man, lots of really great wrestling this year. And what makes a great match we can talk about, but let's see what they all said to start things out here.
Is what the people said. Number 1, Omega Ospreay 2. I was there. Number 2, MJF versus Bryan Danielson Iron Man. I wasn't there, but I was there in spirit. And number 3, Swerve Hangman 2, The Bloodbath. Three matches that sort of have a spiritual similarity to
Go
them.
on.
I would say there's like the type of match that is quick, that can end in maybe when I say quick, I just mean like out of nowhere the ending can happen, and those can still be great matches. There can be like a little bit of somebody could dominate the whole time, and you might see a roll up or even just like somebody dominates and then they end up winning and it's still great. These are 3 matches that felt like not only physically were they taxing, emotionally they were taxing. 3 matches
I like
that just felt like you watching it were tired after, and just absolute marathons. The 3 of them. That I would say they're similar in that way.
Yeah, I really agree. That's a nice way of putting it. All 3 of these feel like I need a cigarette matches afterwards. The big exhale. Really agree. I'm also with Brick Mittens though. I am an Omega Okada, an Omega Ospreay 1 truther. I prefer the first one as well. What did I say though, Matty? I don't even think mine's in the top 3, but I'm very sure this is mine.
Josh going off the board. saying Eddie Kingston versus Claudio Castagnoli at Supercard of Honor was his match of the year. Explain yourself, Josh.
Heavyweight wrestling. Two guys wrestling for a purpose. Sloppy, tired, just felt devolved. It felt, when people say in-ring storytelling, you could almost be saying anything, you know? Like, for example, people would say Ricochet, Ospreay, their Battle of the Super Juniors match is sort of over here, and then in-ring psychology is over here. And yet I can tell you what the story, the in-ring story of Ricochet Ospreay is very easily. I would actually say that match has a ton of in-ring storytelling. They are constantly one-upping each other. They've never found a mirror image in the other before. They are escalating to see who can actually keep up, counter to a counter to a counter to a counter. Like, it's a fight story that you can actually see play out to some degree, and more in grappling matches than real fights. But this is all to say Eddie Kingston and Claudio Castagnoli is a story. It is drag him out fighting. It is Kingston hates him, and it's so palpable. He feels deeply competitive. Eddie Kingston wants to win this match badly. And for that reason, upon rewatch, I thought, if anything, it was better than when I first watched it. There are so many just wonderful Eddie fire-ups. He's basically exhausted and dazed from minute 2 in this match and fighting from under. And it's just fantastic. It's sublime. It's heavyweights. Claudio Castagnoli finally gets his long-deserved match of the year from me. This is a guy that I've loved in ring for a very, very long time. He's never been in this space. But 2023, no longer. Congratulations to Eddie Kingston. And it isn't even the blow-off to that feud, but it is in a feud. These guys have a blood feud surrounding it, and it's carried out well in the match. Eddie Kingston versus Claudio Castagnoli, Supercard of Honor, my match of the year. Matty Max saying, I thought you were going to say Okada Naito. That's number 2. I thought it might be that too. When I rewatched that, I think I said it in the Discord, and you're saying that, I was just, it's crazy that literally Okada versus Naito can still surprise in its quality.
Everyone in the chat, along with me, singlets off one strap at a time for match of the year, man. Eddie Kingston himself. Just what a man. What a man. What a wrestler. I wish there were more Eddie Kingstons in the world.
The world is cold better, but I think there will be eventually. Because right now we're watching the class of wrestlers who loved Shawn Michaels. And eventually we're going to get to the class of wrestlers that love Eddie Kingston.
Now, unfortunately, there can't be a bunch of Eddie Kingstons in the world. And in fact, there are people that are
taking a shit.
There are people that are way worse than Eddie Kingston, because this is what the people said for the worst wrestler of the year. Number 1, we have a guy who moves unlike anyone who's moved before him, Tyrus. Number 2, we have a guy that could not get off and still cannot get off our television screen in Jeff Jarrett. And number 3, we say, not awesome. The Miz. Just a guy who people have always compared MJF to.
Oh, yeah. Oh. I hate when people do that. Can I tell you how heartwarming it is to me that The Miz is on this list? I have no idea what The Miz did this year. I don't have a clue. Did he have an especially bad year? Or are people just like, you know who sucks? I bet you The Miz was the worst wrestler this year. Because The Miz is not it, man. The Miz is, unless if The Miz manages to go to GCW and face Nick Gage one day, I will forgive his entire career because he is the perfect Nick Gage opponent. Besides that, no, Miz. No. I think people don't want to be negative towards AEW.
Oh. But is there a but here?
No, I'm just saying Tyrus being number 1 feels... No one watched NWA this year. That could be worst booking. And in fact, I did give it worst booking last year, putting the NWA world title on Tyrus. Right. But no one saw Tyrus do it. For all you know, Tyrus is the best. He's Okada in the NWA.
I think it's also worth noting that, like, we have, people really want, the Brainiacs really want to love AEW.
Me too. I'm with the Brainiacs there.
Right?
I need them to be good, AEW. I want wrestling television every week. I love it.
And I think that seeing no AEW talent, Jeff Jarrett is Jeff Jarrett. He's not AEW talent. Seeing no AEW talent on this list is heartwarming because like AEW does have a fan base that's just like clamoring for them to do the right thing. And
But before you reveal what I
give them
said,
so much time to do so.
Before you reveal what I said, and I agree there. Do you know that old parable about whose baby is this, Maddie?
I don't. Tell me. Parab me up.
I was hoping you did because I only have the most basic working knowledge of it myself. But there's these two ladies, and they're both like, "This is my baby," and they go to the king, and it's like, "Hey, I'm telling you, this is my baby." The other lady, she's saying, "Hey, this is my baby."
Yeah.
And the king goes, "Okay, we'll cut the baby in half, and you both can have half the baby."
Okay.
And the one lady who goes, "No, fine, she can have the baby. I can't watch." He goes, You're the mom because you were willing to give it up because you love it so much you couldn't bear the cutting half. You must be the mother."
And the other person was totally willing to have half a baby.
She was psycho. She was going to eat it. Something like that. King Solomon says Scoots Brona. I don't know why that's so funny to me.
There are these two wrestlers fighting over a jug, says Irish Mac.
Why, any jugheads here tonight? Any jugheads in the house? Any jugheads in the house? So with that, I give you my worst wrestler of the year. I actually love AEW more than everybody because I'm willing to say
that Roderick Strong is Josh's worst wrestler of the year. Josh!
I'm telling you right now, this man was poisonous to my interest in AEW this year. He single-handedly, I would kiss Jeff Jarrett on the mouth before I'd have a beer with Roderick Strong at this point. This guy is emblematic of a growing infection in the body of the federation that I spend my time watching. When I see Roderick Strong, he is the ultimate sign of not quality to me. Now, I think the world of him as an in-ring wrestler and some, not the world, but very, very good and snappy, and I like lots of his matches. However, he is involved from the fake neck brace to the fake wheelchair to the gym and the bar and the chores and the first name and Joe's my friend and you're my friend. The dorks are always with him. I can't stand the sight of this guy, Roderick Strong. In fact, Maddie, I'm willing to say, and I don't like to swear on this program, as you know. I like to go out of my way to not swear, and yet I must say, more like Roderick Weak.
Oh, Josh, you said you wouldn't. You said you wouldn't. You son of a bee. Look at him all smug over there. He knows I can't. He knows I'm too far away and I can't scold him in person. Anyone ever seen SpongeBob SquarePants in the chat? Of course you have. There's a very famous episode where SpongeBob rips his pants at the beach and he's so embarrassed, but everyone laughs and he's like, "Oh my God, I'm a star." And so the rest of the episode, he absolutely terrorizes the beach by saying stuff like, "Uh-oh, I ripped my pants." And people are laughing for like a few beats. And then by the end, he is just like, he will not let it go. And people don't find him funny and they leave him alone. That's sort of what's happening with Roderick Strong now.
Yeah, he got a little encouragement.
A little bit of encouragement. Whether he did or whether the powers that be are pushing him to do it, who knows? But it's just not working. We need bubble.
People love this comparison, Matt. People are loving the SpongeBobian analogy.
SpongeBobian analogy.
They didn't like my biblical King Solomon one. That shows the level of these people.
Well, there's a one lady, and then there's another lady, and then there's a baby.
Well, it was from the Bible, though. I'm just saying, mine was sort of heady and scholarly. SpongeBob. So anyway, I'm just shitting on the audience.
Bob L'Éponge says Le Zub.
How do you say the man of 100 likes in French, Matty?
I don't really know what the Twitter like would be because
Sure, okay.
but Bob Le
Just use AMS.
What's that?
AMS.
Yeah, l'homme de cent M.
Very nice. Has a nice ring to it. What do you think of Frosty taking the the number 2 of Snow?
Now, do you see those as marshmallows like I do, or are they ice cubes? They're sort of cylindrical.
Nah, he eats snow. So there's snow. They're just snowballs.
Yeah, but they kind of look like marshmallows, Josh. I'm not gonna lie. What if that goes in your hot cocoa at the?
No, don't be gross. Frosty shits marshmallows and they go in a drink. Let's move on. Get the show out of the gutter, man. Shitting in the mug. I'm drinking coffee here.
It's his nasty little
God.
turds. Irish Max saying, wouldn't that be cannibalistic? Perhaps.
It's Snow. Snow's not alive. What are we talking about here? What? No, absolutely not.
This snowman is obviously alive. Look at him.
Yeah, is it cannibalistic when I drink water? I'm 80% water. Moving on.
Okay. What if that water came out of your butt? Moving on,
Hey,
Josh. Head out of the gutter. Head out of the gutter. We have a couple categories here. We have the men's wrestler of the year in the men's wrestling division. The people are saying that Will Ospreay had quite the year. He's number 1.
Sure.
Number 2, we have Swerve Strickland. And number 3, we have Gunther. He's apparently still doing stuff this year. He's a good wrestler. Would love to have him over here. That's a pretty interesting list. Notable omissions like Kenny Omega. You don't have Bryan Danielson on there.
Sure.
You don't have John Moxley. Like, that's the kind of year it's been. It's been a lot of disappointment, but there are some people. There is some cream rising to the top, if you will.
Yeah, I think, first of all, I haven't seen a lot of Gunther, but this feels like a reflection of the top end of the wrestling world this year, like you're sort of saying there. I agree. I actually really love Swerve Strickland as the wrestler of the year for people who put it. I imagine I didn't give it to Swerve Strickland. I imagine the people who didn't, like me, were probably thinking the first half of the year probably just wasn't effectual enough, or there maybe weren't big enough peaks. It's all happening right now. If anything, it feels like he could either be robbed for wrestler of the year because it's going to be like beginning of next year, end of this year, and people will forget. But I think we're entering a real prime for him, or we're in the prime, maybe not entering, but I could see. I don't think that this encaps his whole year was here, even though his ascent was there. But I love him as a pick.
Yeah,
Maddie, I felt very confident in this pick, and he was 5th on the fan vote. I was surprised this guy wasn't more popular with our listenership. But let him know who I chose.
Josh agrees with Zoobs, saying that Eddie Kingston is his men's wrestler of the year. No OC love. That is very interesting. He had quite a year too. But Eddie Kingston, number 1. Interesting choice. We know you love Eddie Kingston, but why? How can you justify his position as the number 1 men's wrestler of the year?
The G1 for the first time ever. The photo with Kawada at Kawada's Ramen Shop. Ring of Honor world title. C1 tournament. Feud with Claudio that ran through the year and was the co-main on their biggest house of the year at Grand Slam, or biggest space that they played. As well as being a reliable best promo in any moment that you saw him doing anything. I'm going Eddie Kingston for wrestler of the year. There was no one I was more attached to this year, even close. I like his Ring of Honor world title campaign to Claudio. Granted, there wasn't a ton afterwards, but I liked his G1. You can't forget the Tomohiro Ishii match. Fantastic match. And just seeing him in that zone and doing New Japan work, he felt all over. He felt vital. Give me Eddie Kingston, 2023.
Eddie
Men's
Kingston,
Wrestler of the Year.
2023. What a year for him. We're moving on to the Women's Wrestler of the Year.
Very scattered category, just like Tag Team of the Year. Very scattered.
not the greatest year for the AEW women's division, that is. So we'll see what the people
I think
said.
for women's wrestling on whole, I even get the sense New York. Think of when you and I were watching. That's the prime NXT 4 horsewomen plus Asuka, Shayna Baszler's coming in. This is the prime of North American women's wrestling, as far as I'm aware. I don't get the sense of doing anything like that now.
The people are saying that Rhea Ripley is their number 1 women's wrestler of the year. I have thoughts. I have thoughts on Rhea Ripley. Number 2, we have Toni Storm. Toni Storm, I think, ambition. She is somebody who is trying so hard, and I think it's really being rewarded right now with just like something that you don't see a lot, which is a very unique character change and not just turning goth, which I love when wrestlers turn like evil or goth. And number 3, we have Julia from I believe Stardom.
That's correct.
Big
Discord. Well, actually, I think the Discord thinks Julia is overhyped. Am I actually saying? Maybe I was going too far. I think the Discord thinks she's not like a top 3 wrestler in Stardom, but big Stardom heads. Thank you for cheering Torque Penderloin. I'm cheering for him. I love that guy.
Yeah, we love Torque Penderloin. Julia number 3. This list feels representative of a scatter.
Yeah.
But three great wrestlers. Thank you, Marlon the Man. Thanks,
The original
Marlon the
swag man.
Man. Now let's see where you landed on this. Toni Storm, very interesting pick. I think a great pick if you're looking at the AEW women's division. Just somebody who is consistently having good matches, who's doing something with her character. Do you feel like, Josh, that her latest run has been what did this for you?
No, I just felt like she was rescuing the division from Saraya.
Mm-hmm.
I don't watch any New York, so I can't vote for them in any of these categories. For all I know, Rhea Ripley's having a Shingo Takagi level run over in New York. I don't have the foggiest idea. That's not true. I know she's with Dirty Dom Mysterio, so I assume she's up to something shitty, but I don't know. Toni Storm, I felt like it needed to be off of Saraya. The Stardom matches I watch are what Sludge Williams in the chat says. This is mandatory to watch. It felt like there was less of that this year than years prior. I got to see Miyu Yamashita in person, and she was really fantastic, but I felt like that was sort of cheating. And I just don't feel a ton of passion for this answer. I'm not a giant mark for Timeless Toni Storm. She does feel like the right person to be on top right now. I think she's able. I thought she had high points this year. Cadenza saying Willow. Maddie Mack said Willow or Arena. Yeah, no problem with those answers. I flirted with Willow.
I'm going Julia Hart.
Sure.
I just think she has impressed me so much.
I had her for most improved, which I think I might have taken out of the slideshow just for time.
Yeah, but she was breakout. She was breakout number 2, I think, according to the Brainiacs. But yeah, I think that she's just had such a wonderful maybe closing of the year. But I'm just excited to see what she gets up to, what they do with her in the future.
Sure. Me too.
Ooh, interesting category, Josh. We have your hottest wrestling takes.
Oh, boy, Maddie. Brace yourself.
Brace myself.
Brace it. And now, chat. Maddie, do you think I can ask something very hard of the chat?
I think you can. I think this is the type of chat that can handle that sort of thing.
Chat, I'm not going to expand on what I'm about to say. And this is going to be extraordinarily difficult. After each and every hot take, I want a 1 to 7. Oh, wait, that's so many. Maybe not. I was going to say a heat rating for all of them. Do you think that's too much, Maddie?
I think we can give it a try, but
give it a try.
We won't linger. We won't linger too much. So perhaps after the first couple, we'll find out who's doing the voting.
Okay, all right, here we go. One at a time. Now, just in case people didn't see the survey, there's a category at the end where it just says your hottest wrestling take, And these are some of the submissions.
Thank you, Pacefal. I don't know necessarily how hot of a take that is. I think it's pretty common knowledge, but well, let's get started.
Pace basically looks like Brody King doppelganger. So you think how hot he is.
Pacefal saying, my hot take is that I know everyone thinks the hosts are complete trolls.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
ugly.
he's-
My hot take is that I think they're handsome. Okay.
I know you guys say they're hideous monsters.
Brick Mittens with a 1 for that take on the
Thank you,
on the
thank you,
heat
Brick.
scale. Thank you, Brick Mittens. What a great example. Okay, number 1. Hot take. Jay White is mid. Get your scores in, everybody, right away. Real quick. We're moving quickly
What is
here.
mid?
Jay White is mid. Interesting take. I honestly don't think it's too hot because he's been mid lately, and he's been a bad part of the C1.
Looks like a 3.5-ish average heat.
Yeah.
Maybe
Wow,
4.
we got a lot of participants here. This could be difficult.
Yeah, I can't read through them all. No, it looks like some 6s coming. Okay, we're going to say 4.25. Nope, some 4s coming in. Yeah, we're going to say 4.25, 1 to 7 heat meter.
4.25 on the
White
heat
Smith.
meter. Interesting. So we have some defenders. We have some.
I'm going to say a 4. That seems reasonably hot. Former IWGP heavyweight champion. He's had some good matches. Maybe they're basing this largely off the C1. Jay White is mid.
Jay White is mid. Couldn't even beat a one-legged MJF. That's what I say.
Yeah, that is very midular.
Up next, we have WWE will be better than AEW in 2 years.
1 to 7.
I'm assuming that, I don't know, something catastrophic is going to happen. This is a 7 for me. The entire McMahon family will crash in a horrible accident or something like that. And I don't know. Bryan Danielson takes over the company. This is hot. This is hot. This is a hot take because we can acknowledge that AEW hasn't been doing as strongly as perhaps it has in the past. We can also acknowledge that WWE sucks so much, and it's not for us. WWE will be better than AEW in 2 years.
Yeah, that's a 6 for me. It's really just, it's not even a discussion unless something really happens to AEW. There's nothing New York can do to make this true. It's purely on if AEW just hires all of their castaway producers and tries to replicate whatever direction Road Dogg thinks is awesome.
Road
Very hot
Dogg.
Very hot take, but that's what I asked for. You can't get it's what I asked for, and that counts as a hot take. I believe that person actually believes that. I don't think that's a bad faith. They see AEW going one direction. They see New York being popular. I take them at their word.
Vince Russo joining AEW from McVander Huge.
That's a
would
good
be
shout,
what it
Bob.
would take.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if he would though, because I hear they swear in AEW.
Uh-oh.
Vince Russo hasn't done that in 7 years or whatever it was. The next hot take is Pac is the devil. Hot take. Pac is the devil.
It's a hot take. I feel like it's pretty hot. No one's talking about it, right?
No one's talking about it.
What would you think of that as a fallout for all this? I actually think it's kind of good.
I think it's good. I think it's a really, like, I can't call it a hot take because I hear it and I go,
Yeah.
oh yeah, maybe.
Yeah, it's not
He's-
that hot, I guess.
It's not that hot. I would say a 1 on the hot scale just because it doesn't fit to me. I think it's just somebody wanted to put that in there. And I
Chat's
appreciate
thinking
it.
pretty good though. Looks like Chat's thinking 3.75, 4 heat average, something in there. I wouldn't mind it though. I got to tell you, when I saw it in there, I was like,
Oh, Marlon's saying it's hot because there's no chance. It's hot because it's
Right.
an unlikely scenario to play out.
sure, I could see that.
I could see that too. This one a little tough to gauge a 4, a 2, a 6, and a 5. I think people are confused as to where this lands on the hot take scale. So we'll move on to the next one. David Finlay will lead Bullet Club better than Jay White will lead Bullet Club Gold. This is a 6. This is fuego. It's not quite as bad as the WWE. Yeah, you're burning. This take is so hot. Josh, stop, drop, and roll. Jug. Jug, save my friend.
Dave Finlay ain't it, man.
Well, you
What
know
are the
his-
people saying numbers wise, Matty? These look like some high scores.
I'm seeing some slot machines. We got a lot of sevens. We got a couple sixes. I'm thinking go buy your lottery ticket with all sevens because this is a hot one. This is a
Yeah, looks like 6.5 average, maybe.
This is depending on who you're asking, either nuclear or nuclear level
Maybe
heat,
both.
level bad from Scoots Brodo.
Could be both.
Could be both. Could be both.
I give that a 7.2 for the record. That's a 7 to me.
a 7.2 from.
And
Josh.
again, I believe this person. Somebody sees if maybe they mean the group under is better, Coughlin and crew, but man. What's up next?
Up next, we have the New Japan Pro Wrestling in-ring product is worse than AEW's. This is sort of this almost has to be put into
Interesting one.
context. Josh, would you say that it is widely thought of that New Japan Pro Wrestling's in-ring product is better? Is that
Yeah,
the consensus? And do
I
you think so?
actually think perceptually they are thought of as the in-ring bar, for better or worse.
People
So,
people are not agreeing with you. They're saying that this isn't that hot of a take. That's what they're saying by giving it
interesting.
a lower score. 'Cause
Interesting.
I think it's a pretty hot take to say that. It seems like the kind of hot takey thing. If you're going against consensus, that's what a hot take is. And if the consensus is that New Japan Pro Wrestling, I would say this is probably like a 5 from me.
Well, yeah, especially when you consider you look at our match of the year nominees. There aren't a ton of New Japan. Is it New Japan or is it they have Okada and Naito? I will say the highs of New Japan feel extraordinarily reliable in a way that I feel like Wrestle Kingdom is going to peak in ways that most AEW pay-per-views do not, but the lows will be lower. So it varies on what you would take in that situation. I think Shingo Takagi, Okada, and Naito are, and Ospreay for as long as he's there, are big match players in a way that AEW only has so many of. They don't have 4 at that level. Kenny, do you put MJF there? Anyway. But yeah, regardless of what we think is true, I do think people think of them as where that's going on as a whole. So yeah, interesting take. I think I can agree with it though. There's more good wrestling, more hours of good wrestling from AEW, I think. I like takes like that though, like some disclarity with exactly. It's good.
Y'all watching Tonga Loa?
Oh yeah, I liked when no joke sludge when Okada was like, "You got to take this shit seriously, man." It just started no selling and wailing on him, and then cut that promo on Tonga Loa sucks. Good stuff. Only in New Japan. Old
Hot
man
takes.
Grumpy Okada is so good. Also,
Well, we got more hot takes, do we, Josh?
no, yeah, we got 3 pages,
3 pages. Okay, we'll move a little faster here.
and then we'll get to the Zoobs.
Hot take. WWE still sucks. It's just a honeymoon phase with Triple H taking over. That's a 1 from me.
Yeah, not very hot.
That is not keeping me warm after I've stumbled upon a shack in a frozen wasteland. I open that door, and it's somehow colder inside than it was outside. That's the level of take this is for me.
Yeah, I agree with the
-7.
Zoobs 2.
2 is almost worse than 1 because 1 is like, this is a horrible hot take. 2 is just like, bleh.
1 is like an objective truth. I feel like somebody says something like Matt Prince is a great musician. That's like that's not even a
2.
hot take. You're just that's on Wikipedia.
0.25 from Cork Benderloin.
Insulting a quarter from the Slackman.
Kev Sell with a .000. I can't. My eyes
That's
actually
allowed.
can't
I
see.
think 0.001. I haven't thought about it. I think that's allowed. I think that's on the
I
scale.
think let's check the rule book real quick, Josh.
Allowed.
That's allowed.
It plays. It plays.
It plays. Next, AEW shouldn't try to emulate New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Fuck off.
What does that mean? What are you trying to say?
I think they're saying that the C1 and the tournament formats are not Not that I to me, this is a 5 or 6. 5.5 for me.
Yeah, I would
80.
say
do
5.5
you want
for
him
me
to
too. 5.5 from me. This is a hot take because if AEW, like, then why are you watching AEW? Or are you is this person one of those people that's just like wants AEW to make savvy business decisions? Like, we're not watching.
Yeah, that is totally the fan base. I agree.
Like they would respect more if they made more money. Listen, I want a billionaire to lose almost all of their money making the best product possible. And
Exactly correct.
And at the end,
Correct.
they're down to their last dollar. That's what I want. That's what I want out of Tony Khan.
I actually agree with Matty Mac. This is probably QT Marshall.
we should have more QTV. It was all good. I finally watched Popstar Never Stop Never Stopping. I don't know if you've seen that Lonely
I have.
Island movie.
Yep.
It is very surprised at how funny it was. But
People in my Discord love that movie. People
they
are
do
about to
the-
love you saying this.
They do the absolute best TMZ ripoff where they're just drinking water from straws and going.
That
I don't know how
actually
I
does
got
sound
there.
great.
It is
That
so
actually does sound
good. It is very, very good. Up next, AEW will be worse in 2024 than 2023. I think this is hot. I think this is spicy. I think the consensus is that AEW has had a bit of a rough go this year. So I'm going to probably say 5.75. Josh, what do you say?
I don't think AEW's this year was that bad. The world title scene went to hell. The Punk stuff was enthusiasm, rocking. But if AEW had the same quality of wrestling and promos and character this year, I keep watching, obviously, and I would enjoy it. It's not like oh, poor me.
You'll keep drinking that garbage?
You're looking. I need to give context. You're looking at a guy who was watching TNA in 2010. You're looking at a guy who was watching 5 hours of WWE in 2018. Like my co-host, the other half of the Sword and Shield says, when AEW, I will be the last guy actually closing the door on this stuff. So yeah, I think this is a hot take. I think it's an interesting take, but I'm gonna say 5.
5 from
In the
Josh.
chat, it looks like maybe even higher, 5.5, something like that.
We got the next hot take up already, Josh.
Oh, great.
This might hurt your feelings. I don't know if you've
Go
seen
on.
this, but the hot take is Punk is washed in the ring. Punk is washed in the ring. Punk is washed in the ring. I'd say that if you look at him physically, he's not where he was in the past. But if
His
that-
last match was phenomenal. The last
Yeah,
time we
that's-
saw him was outstanding.
So I could see why this wouldn't be like maybe I'm just trying to diminish the heat of this take by
Sure.
saying I could see why you would go that way, because people love to take like such extremes. There's no nuance in this kind of discussion. But
Well, I think this is great. This is exactly the sort of stuff I'm looking for when I put out the call, really. And I do, again, I believe people believe this.
Yeah.
Just think that they have gruel where they should have brains.
Mhm.
There's no evidence to suggest this. His matches are outstanding. Steakabun saying can't stay healthy and unimpressive athletically, but he's a better brain for it than anyone working. Yeah, he was never impressive athletically. What's the most impressive athletic thing you've ever seen CM Punk do at any point? Jeebers is saying he's great at story. Yeah, I mean, he's just a great in-ring wrestler. His matches are reliably excellent. No more complicated than that to me.
he rocks.
Looks like the chat average. Yeah, some people lower. Say maybe 3.5, 4. Yeah, 3.5.
You could make the argument that he's not physically where he has been in the past, but you could not make an argument that Samoa Joe match wasn't great. I think
I would
is where
even
I'm
make the
at with
argument.
it.
I don't know what people would point to say that he isn't on the level even physically than he once was. He moves a little slower in the ring. The guy is not Will Ospreay. nor has he ever been. He's a Foley. He's a lead ass. He's
People see him as the guy that jumped from the top rope and landed on the announce table back in. Like, people see him.
That spot is so big because it's like his one high spot ever.
Mhm.
They might remember that one spot, but they don't, like, it was such a big deal at the time. It was like, oh my god, Punk is doing something spotty
Yeah.
instead of meandering around.
What do you think of this though, Josh?
Yeah.
Argument would be for the injuries, says the Zoobs in the chat. Do you think that you could call somebody washed if they are injury prone? Not saying that Punk is necessarily injury prone, but could you call somebody washed if they got injured often when they were in the ring for long periods of time? Because then you'd have to look at, like, Adam Cole. Like, would Adam Cole be washed?
Brian Danielson, perennially injured, was in the ring with Okada twice this year. Got it. Like, I don't see the correlation. I love the Zoobs more than anybody. I just don't see getting injured in the ring as like a big correlation to being washed, unless, again, Pac is washed. Like, there's so many guys who I think are nowhere near washed who have gotten badly injured in the ring.
Yeah. He can't even do a buckshot lariat. Let me tell you. Let me tell you my guy Sludge.
Stupid fucking move.
Nobody should be doing that. You shouldn't do anything that completely stops your momentum and shoots it up your knee like a spring from hell, and then you just swing your arm at someone as you fall over. Horrible move. I hate seeing it. I absolutely hate it. It's why I don't really like Hanger. I'm sorry.
619 sucks too. I see the chat saying Josh is mad. Josh is gonna get mad. I love the year-end show, guys. I welcome the opinion. And I understand.
He's never been mad though. People like,
no,
that's not him. That's not in his
not
nature.
This guy. All ears. All right, let's go. What's up next here? Punk is not washed in the ring. We decided objectively.
Jungle Jack will have a better year than CM Punk in 2024.
I should also just say, of the 191 hot takes, 70 were about CM Punk. So Jungle Jack will have a better year than CM Punk in 2024.
I think we're going to get some ones that say, some people who are going to give ones to this because they don't like it. But remember,
it's a great hot take.
Yeah, remember that if you give a 1 to this, you're agreeing with it. Remember.
That's right.
So
it's a great hot take in my mind. And even me, the ultimate CM Punk fanboy and Jungle Jack hater, I understand how this person, like, what do you count as better year? Could Jungle Boy ascend and make his way up to the AEW world title? Totally on the table.
We have, wow, my sincerity has drawn out some trolls, some people fessing up that perhaps they weren't being 100% above board when they gave this a 1. Jungle Jack, I just don't care. I just hate him. Whatever. It's just, he's no good. Loser, dork loser. Get off my screen. Jungle Jack, I just don't even know how to quantify this because CM Punk is, from what I understand, unsigned and not doing anything at the moment. Would you say, Josh?
I actually didn't see the most recent promo of his, so I'm not really sure.
I'm not really sure what he's up to now, but yeah, I just can't really give an answer on this one because I don't know what he's up to. Certainly not tarnishing his legacy.
Established. I agree with Marlon. Good hot take.
Good hot
Let's see
take.
the next one.
WWE fans are not nearly
Only a few more here.
Are not nearly as nostalgic for CM Punk as AEW fans. The hardcore punkers became AEW fans, and hardcore WWE fans moved on without him. Josh, did you know that hardcore WWE fans existed?
Trust me, they do, and they're in the Wrestling Brain mentions. I agree with the chat. 1 or 2. This is true to me. He's there, and he's not with the people who are going to pop for the backstage AEW stuff. He's in front of just your average wrestling WWE's in town person.
Both friends of McMahon are huge that are New York pilled hate that Punk is back.
Goofballs. If I was a New York fan, I'd be like, oh my God, someone of quality.
And then you'd no, I won't make fun of New York fans. I'll just make fun of New York. How about that?
I will. I'll make fun of New York fans. If you think New York is good, or God forbid, better than AEW, I view you as one of these people who's like, no, all the Star Wars shows are so good. I love going to space and acting like an idiot.
This next one here, Josh, is this next one our last one?
I don't know. But there's only a few more.
Oh, okay. We got,
or maybe we're done.
Yeah, we got another page here. Okay, we'll go through a little quicker here. An active AEW champion leaves for WWE without dropping the belt in 2024. Is this very specific? Is this referencing Jackswell Faxwell? That's hot. That's really hot.
Paris Hilton in the house. That's hot.
Because
good one here.
Jade Cargill. But also, may I point out that this actually already happened in 2023, so perhaps not the biggest deal.
But I guess happen again, and it is 2024 is when it has to happen.
Yeah, I'm referencing CM Punk moving over.
No, I know, but I'm saying this is 2024.
Yeah,
very good.
Hot. The consensus is that this is hot. You agree though, Josh? You think this is you're sweating over there.
Yeah, I think it's a hot take. It makes me think. I don't think it's impossible.
Mm-hmm.
It's good. Steak Bun's also correct. It's not an actual sanctioned belt what Punk was carrying around.
No, it was a belt. Just like Jay White was the champ for a few weeks there.
yeah. I'm the guy who believes that.
If you have the belt, you are the champ. What other signifier do you need?
I have eyes. I can see it.
Looks like a champ to me. And then and then he lost it.
That's right.
And and then Jay White thought to himself, I won't steal it again. C1 will be a greater boon for AEW going forward than CM Punk. This is a hot take.
Two tough things to compare. The Continental Classic.
A tournament and a man.
This is a forced abstract association. Don't know if you have that theme handy.
It's time to play a game.
Where we ask our friends to associate two friends with two people. I think it will be fun.
One wrestler with one tournament.
6s, 7s. I see 1-4 in there. High average. C1. Going to be a greater boon for AEW. I mean, it implies CM Punk was a big boon. He was, I suppose, to some degree. But he was also a huge help.
Look at how Collision is doing. Not that it was doing particularly well in his later days, but
no, but it was good. It was good to watch.
It was good. It was really good. Okay, and then we have Gunther should dethrone Roman instead of Cody. I think we've got a 1 coming up. Well, a 2 or a 3 from me, I think.
He should, right? That would be sick.
That's what I mean.
You told me, yeah, I'm in.
Oh, the Zoobs with a 5. Not swayed by my preamble there.
Scoot's also with a 7. Some high scores coming in.
Pace with a -7 stars.
Doesn't count.
A Torque Pendroloin with a none of my business. I love
You're
that.
a host, for God's sakes. Give an answer.
None of my business.
Come on. We're asking questions. Go on answers. I've had to hear about Impact for the last 6 years of the Discord. You are all going to have to fucking put up with a little bit of this.
Total nonstop action. Gunther should dethrone Roman instead of Cody. It's true. I mean, but I also think Cody's a big time dork and a loser. And his new, was it a hoodie that we had on Merch Match? Is the perfect. It captures him perfectly.
It's. I just love the idea. The worst thing possible happening to Roman is the best.
Yeah. Roman should be beaten by James Ellsworth.
Gilbert. Or the
Any man-
stupidest thing that can happen is
Any man with two hands.
2.9 from Torque Fenderloin. Let the meltdown. There's a score. That's good.
Remembering his roots.
I think that should be it, Maddie.
That should be it. Oh, wow. That means that we're in for a surprise. Well, not really a surprise, but...
Zoobs, it's the normal link with the normal password. Come on in. It's time to talk about who the greatest Canadian wrestler of the year was.
It's time.
Zoobs will tell you who we polled. And then we'll get to our Twitch stats. There he is.
There
this
he
guy.
is. Zoobs, you
I
are
think he's standing.
on...
I'm not standing.
You're not?
No.
Oh, we're doomed.
I can stand up. Hold on. I'll jack it up.
Let's see. Oh, we can see this happen live?
Hold on. Let me get on.
Oh! It's motorized.
Yeah.
I thought you had to unclip something.
Like a winch. No.
Oh,
and it's memory too, so
Oh!
it'll go to where I
Oh, where are you going?
right into it. Yeah. I gotta adjust my camera, but thank you.
We got a new jug. New jug just arrived. We got
Jug is
the
the
chair.
motorized.
I'm a
Oh,
standing Zoobs guy.
Yeah, I get my full diaphragm this way. I guess it's a small appearance. I can stand. Oopsie.
Now,
Hold on a
Zoobs,
second.
when you were on
Adjust the
television
camera.
this week, if I'm not mistaken, national television, you were
Yep.
standing.
Was the first time my I guess he's my stepfather ever said I ever heard him say he was proud of me to somebody else was this week when I was on CTV News.
Really?
Yeah.
That's kind of nice of Manel.
That's pretty funny. No, not that's not my stepfather. That's my father-in-law.
Oh, sorry. I misheard. So, that's even
Yeah.
maybe more heartwarming. That's really nice. I was proud of you.
Perhaps
Thank you.
stew heartwarming.
Hey, very nice, Maddie. Of course. Zoobs, can you talk a little bit about what you've done to accumulate the winner of the greatest Canadian wrestler, the Wrestling Brain Stu Hart Award?
Yeah, absolutely. Quick Coles notes. If you are a Canadian wrestling fan, which I know not all of our audience, but several members of our audience are, you probably know about the Northern Star Award. It was handed out earlier this week. It goes out to Canada's greatest athlete every year. I'm like a sports media, like sort of a wonk for, like I'm really sort of nerdy for that sort of stuff. So, it's a very navel gazy sort of thing. It's like just a bunch of media members get into a thing and have a free lunch and debate and award it to one guy. This year it went to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander of the Oklahoma City Thunder basketball player, as well as Team Canada's basketball team. They won bronze.
Congrats to everybody.
They won Canadian gold at the FIBAs, which is third place.
Matt saying 3 times.
Well,
No,
I
they won third.
I said third.
Oh,
Yeah. Anyway, the famously 2018, not famously, but 2018 was the first year that I was like, legitimately, Kenny Omega was the best athlete in Canada. It wasn't like because some skier won it that year. There was no hockey player that dominated. There was no Olympian that really dominated. Michael Kingsbury won it, but I was like, legitimately, Kenny had the greatest year that a wrestler could have. Like, essentially, he won the G1. He was the #1 PWI. He was anybody that voted on anything was like Kenny Omega is the best wrestler in the world. And that ended up going into like creating AEW. Sort of Kenny's great 2018 had a big part of adding to AEW. All it is to say, I just want to
say about that real quick, Zoobs, is I remember your article had good attention online. Like you sort of became the guy who in earnest was pitching a wrestler for at the time, the Lou Marsh Award. I only remember because I thought it was so charming. For me, somebody who's not a traditional sports fan, to see a Canadian media celebrity like the Zoobs going to bat for a pro wrestler, I thought it was great.
So out of that was like, if Kenny doesn't win it here, if Bret Hart didn't win it in the late 90s, it's never going to be given to a wrestler. So we decided we would make our own thing. In 2021, you, myself, and Blake Murphy went back. We retroactively awarded every single Lou Marsh from 1985 onwards, the entire WrestleMania era, the modern era of wrestling. We awarded them all. It was a lot of Bret Hart. There was a lot of Chris Jericho. There was a lot of Christian gets some, Sami Zayn gets some, Kevin Owens gets some. It's a really nice snapshot. I think you're the same way, Josh. I love to go back and look to why this particular show is so cool. It's so fun to look back and say, where did we come from? What have we done? Who's it been? Last year, it was just you and I. We came on this show and we debated it. And I was sort of missing the three-pronged thing. The thing about having you, Blake, and I was that, there was sort of an easy tie break. To do it. Last year we did I think we had the fans do it, and then you and I live on the air here.
They
went
were the
through it
tiebreaker, if memory serves.
as well. Yeah, and then tried to like figure it out some way we could. This year, I was like very envious, and this was always the plan. Was I put out an email to a little over a dozen media members across the country, people who have covered wrestling, people who talk about wrestling at a high level, people that work Sportsnets, the TSNs, the websites, people that podcast about wrestling, people that write about wrestling, people that if you know a member, former wrestlers, former referees, people that have been in the business. Didn't want anybody that was currently signed to a company, but so there's now a media vote this year. You and I will put a vote in, and then we will let the audience vote. Before we get into your and I picks, I want to do the media vote first. That makes sense, or do you want to do where we are?
Boy, that's a good question. I'll go with your deference here. This is your segment. You've put in so much effort. Whatever you think is the best way to steer here.
So I think it's sort of a 2-horse race. Judging by the media vote, I think it's kind of a 2-horse race, and I think you and I are aligned that way. I'm going to give you some of the quotes for the 2 votes that came in. There's a 1 vote difference on the media vote. It's pretty crazy. It came down to 1 vote. One person voted for neither of these people, and if that person had voted one way, it would have tied.
Wow.
Yeah, here's the arguments made for Christian Cage, a very popular vote. I think a lot of people, first name that comes to mind. One member said a very compelling character on AEW television, a mastermind, a shrewd champion, a great promo, and a solid wearer of turtlenecks. He made the TNT Championship something to care about after that belt really got lost for the last little bit. Also did the impossible by getting me interested in anything Adam Copeland does. He's clearly become the better of the pair, and this is somebody who still has a father. Perfect. Somebody else said throughout his career, whether it was part of the tag team or singles careers or even different companies, Christian and Edge are always sort of inseparable. In 2023, Christian really stepped out of that shadow and became the number 1 most genuinely detested heel in all of pro wrestling and raised the TNT title back from the dead. Killer matches with Jack Perry, Darby Allin, and even Bryan Danielson. Somebody else said at 50 years old, he's doing everything he can to elevate young faces and build new stars. All the things you would want from a legacy act at this stage of his career. Consistently one of the most entertaining parts of AEW TV on a regular basis. The promos are can't miss. Even the fully in-character press conference stuff is must-see. Taking that championship that was lost for years, again, the 3 people have all said it, gave it real value and meaning. I know this is a victory lap run for a guy whose time is ultimately winding down, but he is earning his spot on the card every week, putting on a masterclass as a heel and how to be entertaining and funny without losing heat. He spent 25 years in Adam Copeland's shadow, and on one last ride, I hope Adam can see he's now the one sitting in the shade. Some strong points from our media members. The other person to accumulate votes was Sami Zayn, of course. Here's what the media had to say about Sami. The first half of 2023 reached a level of importance and effectiveness that is rare in wrestling, period, let alone as a Canadian specifically. Elimination Chamber in Montreal was one of the single greatest Canadian crowd moments for a wrestling event, and certainly one of the greatest crowds I've ever been in. Sami's feud with the Bloodline, the entire story dates back to 2022. Arguably the top story in wrestling in the last few years. And the peaks, a loss in a major pay-per-view main event, and a victory in the main event of night 1 of WrestleMania were a level no other Canadian touched this year. While Zayn cooled off considerably in the second half of the year, he was still a fun, compelling character in the tag title and occasionally main event scene. I strongly considered Christian. He was excellent bell to bell all year, but ultimately decided too few matches. While he was incredibly consistent as a promo, the highs didn't touch Sami Zayn.
Really nice
Another member
words.
said,
Oh my goodness.
Another member said, I occasionally, this is a quote. He interviewed Sami Zayn this year, and a quote that Sami said was, I see the occasional comment that I should be doing more, something better than main eventing WrestleMania with Johnny Knoxville. Pardon me, something better than wrestling Johnny Knoxville at Mania. And I'm kind of thinking to myself, what do you want exactly? What's better than that? Unless you're main eventing for the world title, not everything is you're main eventing or you're being misused. I think back to that quote less than a year later, because he would be main eventing a pay-per-view ahead of WrestleMania for the world title in his hometown, concluding one of the hottest angles they have ever run, with Sami trying to work his way into the Bloodline. From there, he would work his way into a major championship match at WrestleMania alongside Kevin Owens, a storyline that, in the history of Stu Hart voting, has won both of those guys this award before.
Wow.
Isn't it crazy that we're here?
That's pretty crazy. Or just outright unlikely.
He stayed a major top star with all year, with a testament to the work he's put in over the length of his career. Maybe I'm just a sucker for a wrestler that likes to expose the virtues of being from Canada, but I think the way in which he never shied away from his Canadianness on the international stage, much like Stu Hart did in his initial international pro wrestling days, I think that makes him incredibly worthy of the Stu Hart. Honorable mentions this year, Mike Bailey and Kenny Omega also received votes.
God, Zoops, I might have been swayed by some of the
It's
really
tough, man. It's tough.
Good
So
thing
I'm
I
gonna
didn't read those. My, gullible, brainwashable, hypnotizable ass would have been all in on those. Some really beautiful words from our contributors there. Thank you so much for seeking those out.
Thank you. And thank you to the media members that contributed. Wag of the finger to those who didn't. I will never forget the ones that did not answer that email.
You got slack to deal with.
Yeah. So how do you feel? I know I'll start, I guess.
Please do, because I feel like I'm leaning one way, and I don't actually think it's what we talked about, but I'm happy to be. I'm really and Survivor, they say I'm here to be sold to. My vote could go any direction.
It's tough because listen, you and I on the course of this show that you put on tonight, excellent job as always.
Thanks, brother.
Goes to show that like the interest in New York and WWE is essentially zero, right? It's if you were allowed to do negative numbers in the 1 to 7, you would do a negative number. However, how do you explain doing a live show after Elimination Chamber? Like, there's only one reason we did that, and it was because because it was Sami Zayn main eventing Montreal. That felt so big. That felt like it's hard to believe we did that already. And not even in the like, hey, the show's on the come up and they have Punk and maybe the show's good. We knew that show was bad. We knew it was shit, and we still were like, you have to watch Sami in Montreal. It was like it's mind blowing, right? And a bit of a thing for me is like, as much as Christian is a week in, week out great part of the show, since Copeland has come over, I'm not like, oh, I can't wait for the Christian segment anymore, right? And it's not necessarily his fault, but the Nick Wayne, it's starting. The Nick Wayne's mom gets into the ring. That's a little less my flavor than the work he was doing earlier in the year, right? Where it was like he came on the screen and you couldn't take your eyes off. So it's hard. I sort of have, maybe Sami gets some points from me because I also am not watching consistently. I'm only seeing WrestleMania and Elimination Chamber. And if I was watching the rest, I would probably have a lot of the same criticisms that I have in Christian. And Christian both gets the points and gets deducted because I see him so much, right? Where it's like he gets points because I'm seeing it every week and I know he's a great part of the show, but also Nick Wayne stuff and the mom. And then of course the argument for Kenny is he probably had 2 of the matches of the year, depending on how you feel about that sort of stuff, sprinkled in with a bunch of other like really good stuff. Just for me, like the Golden Jets shit, the Callis family stuff, it's not the bar for what a great Kenny year is so high that this year isn't that. And I don't know. Otherwise, you have Edge in Toronto. I don't think Kevin Owens did anything that raised my LP. Got some honorable mentions from some people.
Wow.
Nothing else for me. So where are you? I'm undecided. I can be swayed here. I can be talked in. And also, one last thing. Also, I am admittedly, this is a bit of a makeup call for me because I argued against Sami Zayn last year in favor of Jericho, and that has aged like fucking dog water. That is,
wow.
Like, I know.
You can't be too hard on yourself there.
I know, but I was like very much like the AEW was in crisis after Brawl Out, and Jericho like steadied the ship and like he put on some great main events on Dynamite week in, week out. It was like, but Sami was like the only thing on the other show, and you were like really passionate about it. I feel bad because we ended up going my way, so I let you go.
Yeah. So I entered tonight, I guess for the second year in a row, now that you bring it up, in Camp Sami Zayn, based around almost exclusively this nexus. There is nothing harder to do in wrestling than get me to watch a Roman Reigns match live. Because I know what it's going to be. I'm Michael Bluth opening the Dead Dove. Anytime, it's only on you if you're turning into Big Dog Roman at this point. There's no one, you know what it is. They're going to trade finishers. The cousins are going to run in. The uncle's going to run in. The uncle's going to hit him with the thumb. The one twin's a good guy. You know what it's going to be. And yet, I was like searching for a stream. I need to be in. I want to watch live the Montreal Sami Zayn Roman Reigns match. That's basically moving Olympus. If you consider I don't think I've watched a New York match live since whatever SummerSlam Brock Lesnar and Bryan Danielson wrestled at. I think that was the last live New York match I saw. Oh no, I hosted WrestleMania at that bar, so I guess technically those. But of my own volition, tuning in, only Sami Zayn and Roman Reigns got there, and I'll probably never do it again. And so yeah, I entered tonight in Camp Sami Zayn, but like you say, outside of that moment, I literally don't know what he's done except to say I'm certain he's one of the better parts of that show regardless, because he is a talented wrestler who can turn it on if he has to. The show is just such dog shit that it's tough to watch. But I've also actively seen Christian as a part of worse things. So like Zoobs points out, it's impossible to not weigh the exposure in on it. But I think I might stay the course and go simply off the back of Elimination Chamber. And didn't him and Owens headline Mania?
Night one, they headline Mania and won the tag belts. And you hosted. What was the atmosphere like when those two won the tag team titles to headline WrestleMania night one? Yeah.
It was the rooting interest on that. Though I must say Cody was also very over in that place. So take what you will from any of this. But they were a very big rooting interest. And I imagine for American viewers, this probably is a little distant as well, too. It's like, because it was a big deal here. Sammy was getting Canadian press, mainstream attention here. So I think I'll stay with my vote on Sami Zayn.
This is difficult because I feel like for me it's probably Sammy as well. But I admit all those same biases of like
it's very tough.
I feel like I got a complete picture of Christian, and it includes a lot of negative. And I saw 2 Sammy matches, and it was literally headlining the 2 biggest moments of the year, not Punk included. So the thing is, Christian won the media vote by 1, and Christian won our show poll by 1. So 2 votes to 1. Looks like Christian's taking this down.
Wow.
What does Sammy
Matt,
have to do?
you want to vote for Sammy?
Well, if we're each a vote, it's actually 2-2, and we've tied, and we'll co-give it away. That works for me too.
Oh wow,
that works for me. That's
two.
It's 2. It's a media vote, fan vote, and you and I both voted for Sammy. That's 2 and 2. That works for me.
Wow. We don't have a year like that, do we?
It's so funny, Josh, because you know as well as I do. You know who didn't. You know the names of people who didn't answer that. I guarantee if they did vote, they would have voted for Sami Zayn. That's what's so funny about it. It's like he would win the award walking away if
the one media in particular is a lock.
I'll co it. We can wait to see if anybody else writes that email back. I'm happy with co. It's crazy split. It's tied. Like
I don't feel like either of them had a good enough year to
It's
earn
a good
the
thing
co.
that your husband is never dead. Because Nick would have never disowned his father anyway, because he realizes that his father was as good of a wrestler as I was. And not only that, his father, Buddy Wayne, and Nick knows this as well, was the man. So do me a favor, and you know what, Shane, it's because, we played your cards right. But that's a conversation for another day, so what I'd like to have right now is for you to never get the hell out of my ring. Never go punch your card, because I think your shift is never about to start at Denny's. Never get the hell out of my ring. Right, never.
Get out of my ring right, never.
I wish I could go back and not give it to Sammy, not give it to Jericho the year before. But I felt like he was so good.
Because the Zayn matches weren't good to me.
Right.
So it's the year? Is it importance? Is it quality? Never.
This is part of the beauty of it, right? It's part of what makes you love wrestling is that it's completely in the eye of the beholder of what makes somebody wrestler of the year. Like your wrestler of the year pick was not what the people voted.
I think that's cracking me up. The shift is never about to start at Denny's. Is that good? My shift's never going to start? Great. As long as the paycheck shows up.
Because she doesn't have to, I think, is what he's implying.
I understand why it's such a close vote. I feel like we must draw a conclusion, even if it's draw, We have to move on from this.
Yeah, I'm good with the draw. I'm good with the draw.
Okay.
That works for me.
Congratulations to Christian and Sami Zayn, unless more media votes roll in.
I think.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll keep it updated. But for now,
I think
that
that's
seems
a
fair to me.
great outcome. Great outcome. In my
Okay.
opinion.
Okay, Zoobs, it's time to bring people behind the curtain. Congratulations to both these
Yeah, congratulations, Christian, and I'll add the list. And if you want to find the original, it's on Josh's Patreon. The original, God, what did we do? 30? How many of those did we give out? 28? 20, 26, 27?
Well, it's
A
the start
lot.
of the Mania era, so 85 till 2
Yeah, we give out
years
with
ago.
34, 35. We give out a
Crazy.
lot of those awards. I mean, listen, there's a bunch of
Crazy.
years where it's like, okay, it's Bret Hart from here until 1998.
Yeah, there was just a Bret Hart era. There's no getting around that. But maybe I'll put that out on our podcast feed over the holidays too, just to catch people up who want to do this. But if you want it now, patreon.com/J0SHC. Patreon. That episode. Endless episodes. Zoobs and I listening to Vince Russo shoot. It's all in there. What a mensch. Was McVanderhuge.
Never
Speaking
swears
of the
anymore, that
media
guy.
today. I wouldn't.
Bro.
I haven't
Okay.
sworn in 7 years.
Suction mouth.
Are we moving on to the next slide, fellas?
Let's move on here. Let's bring people behind the curtain. Let's show them what the year was in Wrestling Brain.
Okay, here it is up on the screen for you.
This is my
Wow.
favorite stuff.
7,378,832 channel points spent.
Those are your takes a hit. Those are your take a sip. And I want to say a lot of that ended up also being the gambling. I'm going to bet this number goes up tenfold next year.
Yeah, well, or it's way down because all the accrued brain bucks.
Oh, sorry. I meant to take that off.
Well, well, you didn't. So
I meant to. I'll take it off for next time.
all good. And then on the right, I look at our most active chatters, the people that have been here week in, week out. We want to give a shout out. We love everybody in the chat, but these 8 people here the most, chatting the most, contributing the most. It's Corvax 1266, Scoots Brodo, no clue what this is. Hi, it's me RL, Pacefoul, Josh himself, Rick Nashtag, Irish Mac 21, and the Maddie Mac, your most active, your most present, the people that are here the most often. We appreciate you.
Very much.
Thank you so much. A lot. I mean, listen, the reality is there's a lot of people that could be on that list because we have an incredibly people come back week in, week out, and we love that. Like it's, I don't think there's probably I would imagine there's probably not a huge gulf between the people that are on this list and the people that are like 20th. I think people that are here come back a lot, and we really appreciate it.
I think that's right.
We love it. Up next, we have a year of Wrestling Brain with the emotes. I assume, is this just the landing page, Josh, or is this the end results?
No, this is
Those are the results.
There they
Those
are. This is the emote usage. Top
the 5
spot,
most used emotes.
the iconic brain emoji.
The brain.
A fitting number 1 for when a good
course.
point is made. Or as it's more commonly known, when the Zoobs is done speaking. Second place, the Hiroshi Tanahashis. Very fitting. Love and energy. Closes out every show. He also gets to double dip by being a presence on WBCW Meltdown. So there are times there to use the Tanahashi emote. The Come On, of course, it explodes everyone to 7 song. We get it twice.
So, Josh, pause there. Those
going-
3 emotes are
absolutely
used
going.
every week, no matter what, right? Anything could happen. The brain is always on because that's our channel. Tanahashi's at the end of every episode, so it's a guarantee. Come On is played. The song plays. You put it in at least twice. Every single person, every single show. Those 3 basically have to be top 3. And yet, what is number 4? The de facto number 1, if you will, right? Essentially number 1.
Of the ones people are choosing that are not part of built-in show structure. Matt
Thanks,
Prince,
everyone. That's so sweet.
the backwards hat, the smiling face. If Zoobs and I are even mildly annoyed on air, you know dozens of those are close behind.
And just an observation. If you had to pick 2 emotes that are nowhere near this list, Josh, what would they what would the emotes be?
We have to talk about, because at least yours, the bar, there's purple. You know, someone used it. It's present on the chart. It doesn't even get into gradient. Matt's got orange at the top of his, for God's sakes. Mine's a thin black line.
Yeah, I'm seeing.
That's my fault. I never go away. I gotta be missed every now and then. I tried. I'm going away this week. No shows. I need to. Anyway. And then also in the over delivering category, you have to give it up for the good uncle. Rest
Gotta
in
point
peace,
to the Howdy
Bray
Man.
Wyatt. And I'm gonna smoke on some of that shit that made Uncle Howdy.
His mustache is actually 2 joints.
2 joints.
If
yeah.
you look closely,
Is that true?
Yeah, his mustache
cool. I
is 2
didn't know that.
joints. Really, yeah, something that not a lot
So
of
he can
people
just sorta-
know this. He just sort of takes one off and smokes it.
That's cool.
They
That's
actually,
super cool.
you wouldn't believe it, but WWE has banned fog in their buildings, and so he has to produce all of it by smoking weed.
That's so
Truly,
cool.
truly remarkable stuff.
And he's up to the task.
Whoa.
I was seeing Best
Breezes.
Friends dropping some J0 heads. Next year's our year, baby.
I have
Yeah.
to say,
I must admit, just not a surprise to see Matt as to me the de facto number 1.
Yeah,
That's the
no,
number
no,
1
no.
emote. Like,
Deserve. Well,
I'm so grateful, everyone. This warms my dang heart.
and to actually point out too, they're staring at our mugs the whole show, right? So this is
Fair
they
enough.
say, "Hey, I want to see Matt. Where do I see that beautiful guy? Oh, let's drop his head a couple dozen times."
Just a smiling face, just a happy guy floating around the screen. Josh's face is so interesting. Your hair is so dark in that
I know.
in that picture.
I think I must have slicked it back. Sometimes when it's
Oh,
slicked,
yeah, it's
looks-
slicked back. It is still gray. It's just slicked back in
Yeah.
the photo.
Yeah, but it is true in that emote. It looks like I'm trying to look like a young man.
We'll get it fixed. We'll get it fixed up.
Yeah, let's take a worse picture of me if we can.
The Jug. I like Jug for 24. I think Jug.
Oh yeah, come
I
on.
think Jug is. I need you to take a picture of the Jug to me
Yeah.
and like
High
Where are my
quality.
Background
jug
erasure.
heads at?
If you
Yeah,
get a
I need, like, high
DSLR
quality-
camera, just like a nice
if you could
RL
PNG
RL
it
in
out.
the chat saying that they used the Uncle Howdy emote exactly 420 times.
Incredible.
That is
There were people, yeah, and also I'll say this to our fans because I know a lot of people on our channel don't watch a lot of other channels. You also individually have a Twitch recap for the shows that you watch and the emotes that you use. I saw Jay's Retro on Twitter was saying that his number 1 emote of the year was Uncle Howdy. If you do check it out, it should be on your homepage. Tag us and tweet it out,
I
or
would love to see
Blue
it.
Sky it, or I'd love to see what people's number 1 used. I want to see where all the Matt heads at. Somebody out there's most used emote this year was Matt's face. I want to see that.
We
on
need to
our
know. We demand to know who you wonderful person are. Stone Cold ET, get pumped for the jug. Here comes the jug. See
Here comes
Suppa.
the Jug. Yeah,
Maybe cueing a new nickname here. Jug Zero.
not bad.
Not bad.
I was thinking, do we want like a PNG of the Jug, or should I go with like Jughead the character as the emote?
I think the actual jug
the
itself.
actual
for the
jug. I
Jughead
want
thing.
to see that thing floating around.
I need a photo. I think you need a photo of the Jug. If you could cut the background out, or do it, or just send me a photo and I'll do it myself.
You could take a photo and send it to Bobby Burritos. He'll
There we go. Yeah, Bobby will make us the emote because he made the other emotes, right?
I wasn't volunteering you for work, Bobby.
Oh, he's got it. He's got it.
He's the newest guy. He's got to do it. Okay.
Shit rolls downhill.
Yeah.
Is there anything? Is there anything else? One more slide? I don't know. if
Yeah, there is another slide. You betcha.
Whoa, this is pretty. This is making me
Just raw?
thirsty for some fountain drinks.
some Jug. Yes. Okay. So I'll just go through these quickly, and then I'll defer to Josh, who I just think deserves all the credit in the world for this. This is you guys, the viewers. I mean, this is because of you. This was before last week, before our shows this week. So we're going to be up to 110 shows on the year when we get to the end of the year. But just under 10,000 hours watched. That's crazy. That makes
Who
you
is
experts.
showing their audiences this stuff also?
Yeah, pretty cool, right? 10,000 hours makes us an expert at this. 110 streams it'll be, 270 new followers, 204 new subscribers. A lot of that is because of you guys gifting out subs to anybody who stops by. We love that and appreciate it. Gonna be, come on,
Oh,
banner's
shit.
huge.
Thank you
Speaking of which,
Thank you, Bob.
for the gifted subs.
and gifted.
Wow.
Very generous.
Very generous.
And we thank you.
So generous.
Go off.
Uh, Coming up on 50,000 chats. There's your top 3 emotes. And then those are the only 3 channels we stream to all year long. We only did those 3 things. But I want to shout out, number 1, your boys, the Double Dudes, a top 10% podcast and talk show on Twitch. Medium size but mighty, as I put into the media thing. And I don't know when you guys made the switch to do WBCW, but a top 10% Fire Pro Wrestling stream, the number 1 individual show week in, week out. I've seen the numbers, I see the spikes. It's the top Fire Pro show on Twitch. And next year, I guarantee, I looked at the numbers. If you're top 5% in a game, they don't count your data in the game averages because they're like, you're a whale. It doesn't even count. The game average is skewed because your account exists. So we're going to be blowing past the threshold for counting how many views Fire Pro gets next
Thank
year.
you, Slack. We're building
The
something
number
right
one-
there on Mondays.
The number 1 Fire Pro show on Twitch. Tell your friends.
Agree with Brick Mittens. Shout out Torque Penderloin.
Yeah, man.
I'm really proud of seeing 105 streams there. That's basically 2 a week all year because it's not counting this week's shows. Yeah, get Slack
Yeah,
an
I mean-
emote in 24. I agree. We need a Slack.
I mean,
face.
how many emotes did WBCW have? Those are all Slack emotes in my world. But we will.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, yeah, another
Also-
emote to pass Josh and I. Thanks, guys. Another face.
Why don't we
you
just
can use.
remove my face?
Yeah,
Just
we're getting. You and I
remove
are
it. Then
gone.
At least I'm not in the race. It's like
and I
forcing
are
me
gone
to
next year.
jog against athletes.
I'm gonna have to put Sam in there just to like a pathetic attempt. Pathetic attempt to get some votes.
Can it be Sam and I? Can we?
Please use my son.
Yeah.
Please use
Should
my
I
son.
glom off his star power?
You could see Josh's hair behind Sammy.
yeah. Sam looks ancient with gray hair.
Anyway, I'm gonna let you wrap this up on your own. I'm gonna jump out, but I just want to say the
stick around for the end.
I want to. Okay,
all right.
I just want to, as we said, all the credit in the world to Slack. It's so hard to come onto a channel and build a new show, build a new day, build it up from the ground. He was doing Fight Forever by himself on here with Todd Warrior, grinding it out on a not that very good game that is not that fun to play. And he
That is
made
a
it
big
happen.
problem.
And then also, ultimately, Josh, I mean, it's you, dude. It really is. You deserve the flowers, and I want to give them to you while we're here. And I think the whole chat will agree with me that the common element in all this stuff is you. It really is. We come in and we help you, but the name Wrestling Brain is you. Both of those top 10% shows are you. You are here week in, week out. You joke that you're here too often, but it's because of your spirit and your heart that we have any of these numbers and any of this stuff exists. So you deserve it. I love you so much, Matt. I love you as well. I love you, chat. Thank you, everybody. Enjoy the end of the show. I will see you guys on the 27th for the go home show to World's End.
That's exactly right. Oh, I'm moved.
A big to Zoobs.
I will just say that, and I appreciate those words, and I know what he means. However, I've done lots of wrestling content without this team, and I've done wrestling content with this team. You, Zoobs, Slack, Autumn, Bobby, and it's like this is the way to go, man. Our content is, I'm so proud of it. Like what we managed to do as a team is, I really think it's sublime, and I think it's poised. If this existed in the MMA world, something that I follow something I really enjoy, but I would love to find something like this for MMA, and I'm really proud of it. And that's it started with the Zoobs and I watching AEW Dark, and now it does feel like it's it's come a long way, but I do think it's poised for more and more. So really nice words by the Zoobs there. Maddie, anything you'd like to say to the people before I close out? Pacefall saying MMA brain. I wish, man.
My brain. I mean, I have known you for so long, and I've seen I've been part of creative projects with you over the
So many.
years, and I've seen you. I remember when you first started getting into podcasting, and we can laugh about what you sounded like on episode 1. But from
So bad.
but like from that day, you have put nothing but effort, your heart and soul into everything that you do with this stuff, and it shows so much. Like we're like the people on the channel aren't like characters, right? Like we're
You guys
friends.
are killing me.
We're your friends, and we want to be here, and we want to be a part of this. I was jealous from afar before this, before being part of it, and I'm so grateful that I can add anything to it. It's mostly just fun. It's amazing to be a part of. So, yeah,
It is amazing to be a part of. I absolutely agree with that, and thank you very much. What you do, obviously, yeah. Anyway, I'm not gonna make it through this. I love you guys. Let's get out of here. Another year-end show in the books. You guys are all very kind. Thanks, Matt and Zoobs. That was very, very nice. I'm glowing. I'm buzzing.
Of course, it's easy. It's easy to do. It just it falls off the tongue when it comes to you. So love you, bud.
Well, I love you guys too. When you say nice things, even more. And and everybody who tuned in, it's what a gift to get to do this stuff. I love you too, Marlon. Love everyone saying that in the chat. Incredible. And wow, McVander Huge may be saying it better than I can. I'm just going to say love and energy, and we'll close with McVander Huge's words here. This isn't the beginning of the end. It's the end of the beginning.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
You can't say that.